Chapter 43-64. With 100 more cauldrons, Lu Ming's alchemy speed had greatly increased. For more than 10 consecutive days, Lu Ming refined elixirs day and night. After 10 days of alchemy, Lu Ming could roughly estimate the number of pills he could produce in a year. In a year, he could make about 200 million desolation pills. It was still not enough. 200 million in a year. That would be 4 billion in 20 years. It was still far from the 12 billion he wanted. He could only take one step at a time. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days had passed. They're here. Lu Ming muttered as he looked into the distance. In the distance, there were flashes of rainbow light. Many figures were flying over. They were all from the heavenly human tribe. There were more than 1,000 of them. Compared to the other tribes, the number of heavenly human tribe members was small. However, the heavenly human tribe members were too talented. Any one of them would be considered a genius among the other tribes in the universe. Therefore, 1,000 heavenly human tribe members was definitely a terrifying force. Yi Ling also noticed the heavenly human tribe members. He came to Lu Ming's side and looked serious. Soon, the 1,000 heavenly human tribe members arrived near the earth vein. Their powerful auras changed the color of the sky. 9th layer divine gods. Set up the 9 heavens battle formation. This time, we must get rid of Mu Yun. Set up the formation. Get rid of Mu Yun. Everyone will benefit. Begin. Many figures were heard. Then, one figure after another stepped out and stood in various parts of the void. Those people were all cultivators of the 9th Great Supreme God Layer. 369th Layer Great God Layers. Lu Ming muttered. This time, the Heavenly Human Tribe had sent 360 Heavenly Human Tribe members. It was a grand lineup. 369th Layer Divine Gods of the Heavenly Human Tribe set up the 9 Heavens battle formation. Their auras intertwined and merged, forming a huge figure. This figure was also a Heavenly Human Tribe member. He wore a crown on his head. He was a Heavenly Human King. He held a battle sword in his hand. His aura was majestic as if he was the ruler of the universe. He was too tall. Standing in the void, he was even more majestic than a mountain. Boom! He took a step in the air, causing the sky and the ground to tremble. A violent aura rushed towards Lu Ming. The battle sword was 100,000 miles long, and it slashed down towards Lu Ming's head. Such an attack was too terrifying. If it was placed in the starry sky of the universe, it could destroy a large area of the starry sky. Block it. Lu Ming's heart stirred. From the ground, tree roots rushed out. Hundreds of tree roots formed a shield in front of the battle sword. Boom! The battle sword slashed at the shield, causing the shield to shake violently. The roots on the shield were broken one by one. Although it managed to block the attack of the battle sword in the end, the shield made of roots was split in half. It's broken. The tree's defense has been broken. Seeing this scene, all of the heavenly human clansmen were overjoyed. That was because the 9 Heavens battle formation had not used its full strength yet. That was because it was just a probing attack. Mu Yun, let's see how you'll die this time. Without the protection of the tree, you'll die without a burial place. Many people shouted coldly, especially Yi Chu Hao Han. He looked ferocious and wanted to crush Lu Ming into ashes. As expected, a tree can't block it. At this moment, Lu Ming whispered. Originally, he had thought that if the tree could block the attack of the heavenly human clansmen, he would not use the other black seeds. After all, those black seeds were very precious and rare. But now, he had to use them. A black seed appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he threw it on the ground. When the black seed touched the ground, it immediately sprouted and grew rapidly. Seeing this, the eyes of the heavenly human clansmen almost popped out. Damn it, he still has seeds. Attack, attack, kill him in one fell swoop. Quick, the black seed needs time to grow. Activate the battle formation and kill him. Many heavenly human clansmen shouted angrily. The 360 experts at the 9th level of the Great God Realm reacted immediately. They activated the battle formation to kill Lu Ming. The gigantic king of the heavenly human clan immediately brandished his battle sword and slashed towards Lu Ming. At that moment, Lu Ming was not in a hurry. Another black seed appeared in his hand and he threw it in another direction. It immediately sprouted. When the battle sword slashed down, the first tree attacked again. Hundreds of roots rushed out of the ground and formed a defense. The roots of the tree were cut off and they immediately grew back. At the same time, some thin roots appeared and intertwined with the thick roots of the first tree. These thinner roots were the roots of the two newly planted trees. Even though they had not fully grown yet, they were already very powerful. Furthermore, the tribulation overcoming ghosts also rushed toward the battle swords. This time, the king of the heavenly human clan's battle sword was even more powerful than the previous one. Those crossing disaster ghosts were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Their bodies trembled violently as they were sent flying one after another. However, that also weakened part of the battle sword's power. The remaining power of the battle sword landed on the shield made of intertwined roots. The shield shook violently and the roots on it broke one by one. However, in the end, it was blocked. Damn it. Use your full strength. Use your full strength. I'll let you use your full strength. Use your full strength. Use your full strength. Behind them, the geniuses of the heavenly human clan who had not participated in the battle formation shouted furiously. Especially Yi Chu Haohan, he almost jumped up. Lu Ming had taken out a third black seed. How many black seeds did he have? He was anxious. Those black seeds were growing too fast. If he delayed any longer, he would miss the opportunity. However, the person who had set up the battle formation had not used his full strength yet. Actually, the people who had set up the battle formation also had their own difficulties. Even though they had successfully set up the 9 heavens battle formation, they had come from different factions and followed different geniuses. They would compete and kill each other. Although they had learned how to set up the 9 heavens battle formation, they had never practiced it before. Now that they had set it up at the last minute, it was inevitable that they were a little rusty and could not use it as freely. If they could not use it freely, they could not use it even if they had the strength. That sword strike just now could be considered the most powerful one. Unless they were more proficient in the battle formation. With that delay, the 2 trees planted at the back had already grown rapidly and became towering trees. Although they were not as tall as the first tree, their power was already very shocking. Burn the power of the heavens, quick! One of the heavenly human clan monsters roared and gave the order. Use your full strength. The other heavenly human clan monsters also roared. The heavenly human clan members who had set up the battle formation had no choice but to risk their lives. The power of the heavens in their bodies began to burn fiercely. Chapter 43-65. The heavenly humans who set up the formation used the power of the heavens to increase the power of the 9 heavens battle formation. The heavenly human king's aura became even more terrifying. He waved his incomparably huge battle sword and slashed it down again as if he was going to split the entire earth vein in half. However, there were already 3 trees here. The other 2 trees were almost mature. Hundreds of roots danced in the air. It was a shocking scene. The roots gathered together. This time, they did not form a shield. Instead, they intertwined with each other to form a giant staff. It was a giant staff that was completely formed by intertwining roots. The giant staff struck out toward the opponent's battle sword. However, almost 50 calamity-avoiding ghosts had already flown out in front of the giant staff and charged toward the battle sword. Boom! Boom! The third clash erupted. This time, the heavenly human tribe went all out. Although the power of the 9 heavens battle formation was stronger, it was still able to withstand the attacks of the Nine Heavens battle formation with the help of the three trees. In fact, it was even easier than the previous 2 times. After all, the three trees were now mature and powerful. Damn it! Damn it! The heavenly humans roared in anger and indignation. In the end, they ordered the heavenly humans to retreat. They had already burned the power of the heavens earlier, but they still could not break through the defense of the three trees. There was no need to continue attacking. The after-effects of burning the power of the heavens were too great. After the Nine Heavens battle formation moved back and out of the attack range of the trees, they dispersed the Nine Heavens battle formation. The figure of the heavenly human king dissipated in the air. "What should we do now?" someone asked. "I didn't expect that kid to have so many black seeds. I really don't know how he got them," Yi Chu Haohan said in an extremely displeased manner. "The three trees are not invincible. The main thing is that the Nine Heavens battle formation that we set up is not very smooth and can't fully unleash the power of the Nine Heavens battle formation. I suggest that we spend some time to familiarize ourselves with the Nine Heavens battle formation and practice it a few more times. That way, when the Nine Heavens battle formation can operate freely, its power will increase greatly and we will definitely be able to break through the defense of the three trees," a heavenly human prodigy suggested. "I agree. I agree too." The others nodded in agreement. Then, they began to practice their battle formations. They didn't plan to avoid Lu Ming. They practiced not far away, deliberately letting Lu Ming see them. In this way, it would create a huge psychological pressure on Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming to be unable to refine pills in peace. Swish! Swish! 360 cultivators of the ninth great supreme god layer were moving in the air. Their qi was boiling. It seemed like there was a special thread connecting the 360 cultivators of the ninth great supreme god layer. A huge figure condensed and swung its sword continuously. After a few hours of practice, the battle formation dispersed again. After everyone rested for a while, they resumed their practice. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. As the heavenly human tribe continued to practice the battle formation, their coordination became more and more coordinated. The power of the battle formation also increased rapidly. If this continued, when the battle formation was operating at its peak, it might really be able to break through the defenses of the three trees. Far away in the sky, Yi Chu Haohan and a few other top prodigies looked at Lu Ming coldly. They seemed to be telling Lu Ming to wait and see. It won't be long before they kill him. These people are really endless. I can only make you despair then. Lu Ming's face was a little gloomy. Then, a black seed appeared in his hand. He had a total of 4 black seeds. Now, he took out the 4th one. With a wave of his hand, the black seed flew out and landed on the ground. Then, it started to grow rapidly. In the distance, the heavenly human tribe who were practicing the Nine Heavens battle formation stopped and stared in Lu Ming's direction with their eyes wide open. The other heavenly human tribe members who didn't participate in the Nine Heavens battle formation were also stunned. Their eyes were wide open as they stared in Lu Ming's direction. Anger, confusion, indignation, and other emotions appeared in their eyes. Ah, damn it. Finally, Yi Chu Haohan couldn't take it anymore. He looked up to the sky and roared. His golden hair fluttered in the wind. He looked crazy and helpless. He was really going crazy. He had been tortured by Lu Ming. Every time they were about to see the hope of killing Lu Ming would personally destroy this hope in the blink of an eye. It was too uncomfortable and too aggrieved. Mu Yun, don't rely on the tree if you have guts. Fight with your own strength. What's the point of relying on external objects? Yi Chu Haohan shouted. If relying on external objects isn't a skill, then defeating me with your numbers and suppressing me with a battle formation is a skill? If you want to fight with your own strength, fine. Come on, let's fight one-on-one. Lu Ming said indifferently, full of sarcasm. Yi Chu Haohan shut his mouth. His face was red, but he didn't dare to fight. Previously, a genius who was as powerful as him was killed by Lu Ming. How could he dare to fight with him? Unless his cultivation broke through to the 9th level of the divine god realm. Unfortunately, he was still a little lacking. He didn't have enough chaotic pills. Trash. If you don't dare to fight, then shut up. Lu Ming scolded. Ah! Yi Chu Haohan roared and almost vomited blood. The faces of the other heavenly humans were also very ugly. They stared at Lu Ming as if they were going to skin Lu Ming alive. Lu Ming's face was calm. In just a short while, the 4th tree had grown into a towering tree. There were a total of 4 trees standing on the ground, like 4 majestic guards. The people of the heavenly humans were troubled. The defensive power of the 3 trees was already extremely terrifying, but there was one more tree. Even if they practiced the 9 heavens battle formation to perfection, they might not be able to break the defense of the 4 trees. The most important thing was that they didn't know if Lu Ming had any more black seeds. The black seeds in Lu Ming's hands seemed to be endless. They were very tired. In the end, the people of the heavenly humans discussed for a while and prepared to retreat. Of course, they wouldn't give up so easily. They were thinking of other ideas. That was because in the last 20 years, the space barriers between the different star palaces would become weaker and weaker. Some powerful beings would even be able to cross the star palaces and travel between the different star palaces to obtain opportunities. They were waiting for the space barriers between the star palaces to weaken so that they could find other heavenly humans in the other star palaces to deal with Lu Ming. After the heavenly humans retreated, Lu Ming and Yi Ling returned to the earth vein and continued to refine chaotic pills. Lu Ming's rhythm had returned to normal. As he refined the desolate pill, he comprehended various secret skills. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years passed. In 10 years, Lu Ming had obtained 2 billion chaotic pills. In addition to the remaining 200 million and the 200 million he got from the heavenly humans, he had 4 billion chaotic pills. Chapter 43-66. However, Lu Ming still owed Yi Ling 500 million desolation pills. After returning the 500 million desolation pills to Yi Ling, Lu Ming still had 9 billion desolation pills left. However, Yi Ling had collected enough desolation pills for his breakthrough. He began to refine the desolation pills and began to break through. As long as he had enough desolation pills, breaking through was not a problem. 10 days later, Yi Ling had consumed more than 2 billion desolation pills and successfully reached the 9th layer of the divine god realm. After reaching the 9th layer of the divine god realm, Yi Ling's combat strength had increased tremendously. He was no weaker than the current Lu Ming and could be considered a top divine god. Lu Ming, I'll give you all the desolation pills that I'll refine later. I hope you can break through the 9th layer of the divine god realm soon and become an invincible divine god. Yi Ling said to Lu Ming. Thank you. Lu Ming nodded and did not refuse. The desolation pills were too important to him. As long as he broke through to the 9th layer of the divine god realm, he would be almost invincible in the divine god realm. It was very important for him to fight for the origin seed later. He really needed the desolation pills. He understood that even though Yi Ling had reached the 9th layer of the divine god realm, the desolation pills were still very useful to him. They could solidify the black hole in his dantian, strengthen his control over the black hole and increase the strength of his divine body. Therefore, this was a great kindness that he would remember in his heart. If there was a chance, he would repay Yi Ling more, but now was not the time to be courteous. Yi Ling did not say much. He returned to his previous place and continued to refine pills. There are still 10 years, even if I add Yi Ling's pills, it's still too late. I have to think of another way. Lu Ming whispered. He now had 9 billion desolation pills. He was still 1 billion away from the 12 billion he needed to break through. In the next 10 years, even if he injured Yi Ling, he would not be able to gather 10 1 billion. After some time, I'll go out and see if I can get more pill furnaces, Lu Ming thought. His target was, of course, the heavenly human tribe. He wanted to see if he could sneak attack them and steal some pill furnaces. It would be best if he could get some desolation pills. Lu Ming still had dozens of ordinary secret arts that he hadn't finished comprehending yet. He planned to finish comprehending all the secret arts he had on hand before going out for a walk. At this time, a certain void in the core area suddenly distorted. After a few flashes, a group of figures appeared. There were only 13 of them. All of them were from the heavenly human tribe. The leader was a young heavenly human tribe member. The remaining 12 people were all in their prime. Their auras were extremely shocking. They were like volcanoes that had yet to erupt, containing terrifying energy. Is this the mighty Sky Star Palace? I wonder what kind of miraculous place will appear in the Prestige Star Palace. You guys, go and investigate. If you find anything, come back and report to me. The young man from the heavenly human tribe said. Yes. The 12 burly men accepted the order and left in a flash. The young man from the heavenly human tribe waited on the spot. He didn't have to wait for too long before the 12 of them all returned. Yeah, I did. To the north of this place, there's a hidden area with high-level earth-string energy that's extremely rich in your wild's chi. A middle-aged man said. There's actually a hidden area. Interesting. Let's go take a look. The young man from the heavenly human tribe said. Immediately, the young man from the heavenly human tribe led the 12 men to the hidden area. In the hidden area, above a high-level earth-string energy. This high-level earth-string energy was also extremely rich in your wild's chi. In the hidden area, it was second only to the one occupied by Lu Ming. It was estimated that all of the your wild's chi had been condensed into your wild's pills. There were at least 5 billion of them. This place was occupied by 2 groups of heavenly human tribe members. The leaders of each group were top prodigies who were not weaker than Yi Chu Haohan. The young men from the heavenly human tribe from the other astral palaces led the 12 burly men to the vicinity of this earth-string energy. Looking at the earth-string energy that was filled with your wild's chi, the young man from the heavenly human tribe's eyes lit up with greed. Ha ha ha, there's actually an earth-string with such rich your wild's chi. This earth-string energy is mine. The young man from the heavenly human tribe, Yelugu, said. They didn't stop and directly headed toward the earth-string energy. Who's there? Stop right there. This is the territory of the heavenly human tribe. How dare you? A cold shout was heard. Following that, a dozen figures shot up into the sky and arrived in front of Yelugu and the others. They were the elites of the heavenly human tribe. However, when the elites of the heavenly human tribe saw Yelugu, their expressions changed drastically. Young Master Yelugu. You. Why are you in the Prestige Star Palace? The elites of the heavenly human tribe were shocked. Their eyes were filled with reverence as if they were afraid of Yelugu. Why can't I be here? Now that the barrier between the astral palaces is getting weaker, I naturally crossed the barrier to come here. Whose men are you? Ask your master to come out and tell him that I want this earth-string energy. Yelugu said lightly. His voice was heard far away. The elites of the heavenly human tribe looked troubled. Yelugu, aren't you being too overbearing? You want to occupy our earth-string energy as soon as you arrive? That's right. You've gone too far. 2 youthful voices were heard. Following that, 2 groups of people flew out from 2 different locations of the earth-string energy. The 2 elites who had spoken just now were the leaders. Their talent and combat strength were not weaker than Yi Chu Haohan's. The 2 groups of people added up to more than 200. It was a grand scene. However, Yelugu's expression was as calm as ever, as though he didn't see anything. He calmly spoke, in the supreme immortal city, there's no such thing as going overboard, there's no such thing as tyrannical. There's only strength. Everything depends on strength. Yelugu's chi exploded out of his body. You've already reached the 9th Great Supreme God layer. The expressions of the two geniuses changed greatly. They knew how strong Yelugu was. Yelugu had 10 stars of battle strength. They had 9 stars of battle strength and were considered the top elites of the heavenly human tribe. However, Yelugu was stronger than them. He had 10 stars of battle strength. 10 stars of battle strength was rare even among the elites of the heavenly human tribe. He was one of the few who stood at the top of the pyramid. Moreover, he had reached the 9th Great Supreme God layer. His battle strength was terrifying. Ordinary 9th Great Supreme God layers would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. Their advantage in numbers was useless in front of Yelugu. Moreover, they could not use the 9 heavens battle formation against Yelugu because Yelugu was extremely proficient in the 9 heavens battle formation. He knew all the strengths, weaknesses, and operating methods of the 9 heavens battle formation. The 9 heavens battle formation could not do anything to Yelugu. They could not do anything against Yelugu. You'd better leave and give up the earth string energy. Otherwise, it will affect the harmony between us. Yelugu said indifferently. The other two wanted to curse out loud. He was going to occupy their earth string energy and he still said that it would affect the harmony between them? Shameless. Yelugu, didn't you want the earth string energy? Actually, there's an even higher grade earth string energy here. One of the sky prides rolled his eyes and said. Chapter 43-67. The eyes of the others also lit up. They understood what this prodigy meant. Getting someone else to do the dirty work. There's a higher level ley line? Don't think you can fool me. Yelugu said, his eyes flickering. Whether it's true or not, you'll know once you go there. How can I fool you? Let me tell you, the total amount of desolation chi contained in that ley line is at least twice as much as this one. Also, you'll be very interested in the person who occupies that ley line. He's Mu Yun. A prodigy said. What? Mu Yun. Upon hearing Mu Yun's name, Yelugu's eyes lit up with the flames of greed. Is what you said true? Is it really Mu Yun? Yelugu asked again, his breathing becoming a little rapid. How exciting. It's Mu Yun. As long as I kill Mu Yun, I can be conferred the title of Son of Heaven. Although he had a 10-star combat strength, he still wasn't qualified to be the Son of Heaven. That was because the Son of Heaven or Daughter of Heaven had at least an 11-star combat strength. He was still one step away. Although it was just one step, it was still a huge gap. Perhaps he would never be able to cross that step and become the Son of Heaven. However, as long as he killed Lu Ming, he would immediately succeed. It's true. The others nodded. Mu Yun. The greed in Yelugu's eyes became even more intense. However, he quickly suppressed it. He thought of a problem. Yelugu glanced at the others coldly and said, If Mu Yun is here, won't you go and kill him? He didn't believe that anyone could resist the temptation of being the Son of Heaven or Daughter of Heaven. We went, but we couldn't kill him. Mu Yun controlled a strange tree with terrifying power. A prodigy explained. A tree? In my opinion, you guys are too useless. Go, lead the way. Mu Yun is mine. Yelugu said in a commanding tone. The two prodigies were extremely unhappy, but they didn't show it. It's good that you can deal with Mu Yun. It's best if both sides are injured. I'll let you guys fight each other. The two geniuses of the heavenly human tribe thought unhappily. Naturally, they wouldn't refuse. They led the way and headed towards the earth vein where Lu Ming was. Soon, the earth meridian that Lu Ming was in appeared in front of them. Staring at the vast earth vein, Yelugu's eyes burned with passion. His gaze was as sharp as lightning, piercing through layers of space and accurately landing on Lu Ming. Mu Yun. After seeing Lu Ming, Yelugu's eyes were incomparably fiery, like two burning flames. Above the earth vein, Lu Ming naturally discovered Brother Yelu. You're here again. I didn't go looking for you, but you came by yourselves. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a trace of hostility. Mu Yun, come out and face your death. Yelu Gu stepped out, moving closer to the earth vein. You want to kill me? Come, I'll wait for you here. Lu Ming's voice echoed in the distance. Humph, don't think you can do whatever you want with a few trees. The others can't kill you because they are trash. You won't be able to be smug in front of me. Yelu Gu snapped coldly and increased his speed, aiming to kill Lu Ming. Brother Yelu, wait a moment, let us clear the path for you. We'll go first, Brother Yelu, there's no need to take the risk. The 12 muscular men that Yelu Gu brought with him blurted out and chased after Qin Nan. Yelu Gu nodded and did not force himself. He let the 12 muscular men go first while he followed behind from afar. What a pity. Lu Ming let out a sigh. He initially thought that if Yelu Gu were to rush over, he would control the 4 trees to eliminate Yelu Gu. He could tell that Yelu Ji's identity was definitely not ordinary. Such a person would surely have a large number of cauldrons. If he could eliminate Yelu Gu, his speed of refining the desolation pills would greatly increase. Unfortunately, Yelu Gu was being too cautious. Wait, the heavenly human tribe doesn't seem to be on good terms with each other. If that's the case, I can pretend to be weak first. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he thought of an idea. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Yelu Ji's 12 subordinates gathered together and rushed towards Lu Ming. These 12 people were all at the 9th layer divine god realm and their battle strength was extremely strong. All of them had 6 stars of battle strength. If one's battle strength did not reach a certain level, it would be difficult to break through the barrier between star palaces. These 12 people were able to break through the barrier between star palaces and follow Yelu Gu to the prestige star palace. Die! Lu Ming shouted softly. The ground shook and densely packed roots rushed out, sweeping toward the 12 burly men. The 4 huge trees were activated by Lu Ming. Close to 400 root hairs swept toward the 12 heavenly human tribe warriors at the same time. The scene was extremely astonishing. Formation. The 12 muscular men formed the 9 heavens battle formation and condensed a huge battle sword. The battle sword slashed out and turned into hundreds of sword lights, slashing towards the roots. Although there were only 12 of them, they were all elites. All of them possessed 6-star combat strength, and a few of them even possessed 7-star combat strength. The 9 heavens battle formation formed by the 12 of them was extremely powerful. Boom! 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 A series of explosions sounded and the roots were cut off by the sword lights. Die! The 12 muscular men shouted angrily and rushed towards Lu Ming. Dazzling sword lights slashed towards Lu Ming. They wanted to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically and he roared furiously. Dozens of crossing disaster ghosts dashed out toward the 12 burly men and collided with the sword gleams that they condensed. Only then did they manage to block the sword gleams of the heavenly human tribe. That's all there is to it. Yelu Gu sneered. The other heavenly human tribe members were confused. That's not right. Why did the power of the 4 trees weaken? When we attacked back then, the power of the trees was much stronger. The thought crossed the minds of the other 2 geniuses. Then, they wondered if Lu Ming was deliberately showing weakness. Should they remind Yelu Gu? The 2 leading sky prides of the heavenly human tribe looked at each other and chose to remain silent. The competition between the heavenly human tribe was also incomparably fierce. Yelu Ji's talent was a level higher than theirs, suppressing them in every aspect. The resources he obtained were also more than theirs. If they could get rid of Yelu Gu with Lu Ming's help, wouldn't their competition be reduced? As for whether it would help Lu Ming, they didn't think about it. There were many powerful cultivators in the heavenly human tribe. In the heavenly palace, there were the 9 sons and daughters of the heavens. Even if they couldn't kill Lu Ming, someone would kill Lu Ming sooner or later. If they could get rid of Yelu Gu with Lu Ming's help, why wouldn't they? Therefore, they chose to remain silent. Since the two leading sky prides didn't speak, their subordinates naturally wouldn't speak either. Chapter 43-68. You guys block these trees, I'll go kill Mu Yun. Yelugu ordered the 12 burly men. Don't worry, young master. Leave these 4 trees to us. We'll definitely block these trees. The 12 burly men replied confidently. They felt that they had figured out the strength of the 4 trees through the previous exchange. Swoosh! Swoosh! They attacked with all their might, activating the 9 heavens battle formation. Dazzling sword light burst out, slashing towards the dozens of crossing disaster ghosts and hundreds of roots. Yelugu had already made his move. He took a step forward, as if teleporting, and pounced towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. So strong. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. As soon as Yelugu struck, he felt tremendous pressure. He had a feeling that he was not Yelugu's opponent in a head-on confrontation. However, he did not plan to attack himself. He stood there calmly, waiting for Yelugu to come closer. In an instant, Yelugu was about to reach Lu Ming. His body was shrouded in a layer of terrifying energy. This was the heavenly extermination energy. Now, kill! Lu Ming shouted, ordering the 4 trees to attack with all their might. Whoosh! 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 The roots of the trees suddenly danced wildly, their power skyrocketing. They swept out, shattering the sword light formed by the 12 burly men. At the same time, under Lu Ming's feet, more than a dozen roots rushed out from the ground, like a dozen long snakes, sweeping towards Yelugu. That terrifying aura caused Yelugu's expression to change drastically, becoming incomparably unsightly. That was because those roots brought him a fatal crisis. Destroy! Yelugu roared, both of his palms struck out in succession, several grayish palm imprints blasted out, aiming at the dozen or so roots. The grayish palm print was completely formed by the power of heavenly extermination, and it collided with the dozen or so roots. In an instant, heaven and earth shook violently, and the force swept out in all directions. However, the next few palm prints were destroyed by the dozen roots. The roots did not stop, continuing to bombard Yelugu. Damn it! Yelugu bellowed in anger. He couldn't care less about killing Lu Ming as he retreated rapidly. He already understood that just now Lu Ming had been feigning weakness in order to draw him closer. The power of the 4 giant trees was far more terrifying than he had imagined. Since they couldn't kill Lu Ming, they could only retreat. However, how could Lu Ming let him retreat? Some of the roots that had been fighting with the 12 burly men earlier had already rushed over. No matter how hard the 12 men tried, they couldn't stop the roots. At least 100 roots swept towards Brother Yelu. Yelugu was surrounded from all directions. Countless roots were trying to envelop him. Ah! Yelugu roared. His palms turned completely gray, as if they were made of gray metal. His strongest attack was his palm technique. Boom! 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 He continuously attacked with his palms, and in an instant, dozens of palm prints were blasted out. Each palm print was as large as a small mountain, blocking him from all directions. The roots of the giant trees slammed into the palm prints, causing a violent explosion. The palm prints kept shaking and crumbling one after another. Whoosh! Finally, a root broke through the blockade of the palm prints and whipped towards Yelugu. Yelugu was hit, and his body was almost split in half. He spat out blood and his face was pale. Why aren't you helping Yelugu? How dare you leave him to die? I'll see you when we get out. One of the 12 men shouted angrily at the other 2 groups of people. Do it. The 2 sky prides ordered. Indeed, the heavenly human tribe had always been united in the face of a common enemy. If they didn't help Yelugu get killed, they would also be punished if word got out. The other 2 groups of people attacked. Hundreds of attacks were launched towards the roots. However, it was too late to do anything now. The 4 giant trees had a total of nearly 400 roots, and there were nearly 50 disaster-avoiding ghosts. As long as a part of them blocked the attacks of these people, the attacks on Yelugu didn't stop or weaken at all. No matter how strong Yelugu was, he was only one person. He couldn't resist the attacks of hundreds of roots. He tried his best, but he could only resist for a few breaths. After a few breaths of time, his attack was broken, and the tendrils shot toward Brother Yelu. Yelugu let out an unwilling roar and tried to resist, but it was useless. He was continuously whipped by more than a dozen roots, and his body exploded. Then, his flesh and blood were completely devoured by the roots. Only a storage ring was left in Lu Ming's hand. Ah, damn it. Mu Yun, you dare to kill Yelugu. Your fate will be miserable. You're dead. Your family and friends are all dead. The 12 men roared as if they had gone crazy. I think you're the ones who are dead. Lu Ming said coldly. In an instant, hundreds of roots and dozens of disaster-avoiding ghosts attacked the 12 men. With a loud bang, the 9 heavens battle formation set up by the 12 men collapsed. Then, hundreds of roots attacked together. The 12 men didn't even have time to scream before they were killed. Their flesh and blood were completely devoured. Lu Ming stepped out. Like a bolt of lightning, he flashed through the air and grabbed the storage rings of the 12 men. Retreat! Retreat! The other 2 groups of people quickly retreated and disappeared without a trace. After the battle calmed down, there were 13 storage rings in Lu Ming's hand. Let's see the harvest. Lu Ming quickly did a count. In the end, Lu Ming found a total of nearly 300 alchemy furnaces in the 13 storage rings. This was an extremely shocking harvest. Lu Ming was ecstatic. With 300 pill furnaces, he could refine at least 100 million chaos pills every year. This allowed Lu Ming's annual output to reach 300 million chaos pills. He was one step closer to his goal. Hunting the heavenly human tribe is still profitable. If there are a few more of them, I'll definitely be able to gather the chaos pills I need to break through in 10 years. Lu Ming thought. However, it was only a thought. If it weren't for the 4 trees, it would be impossible to kill an expert like Yelugu. After leaving this place, it would be impossible for Lu Ming to kill the other geniuses of the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming activated the 300 pill furnaces together and began to refine pills. A few days later, some of the geniuses of the heavenly human tribe gathered together and began to discuss how to deal with Lu Ming. We can't leave Mu Yun alone. He's getting more and more pill furnaces. If this continues, his cultivation will increase and he'll be harder to deal with. That's right. The barrier between the star palaces is getting weaker and weaker. Let's go to the other star palaces to find help. It's best if we can find the sons or daughters of heaven to kill Mu Yun. I have no objections. I agree. Chapter 43-69. Now, some of the barriers between the star palaces had become weak. Those who were powerful could already break through the space and enter other star palaces. Some powerful elites had already started to cross the star palaces to fight for opportunities. The mighty star palace was the star palace where Lu Ming and the others were. A few elites of the heavenly human tribe came to a space barrier and tore through the space to find other elites of the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming and Yi Ling were still in the earth vein, trying their best to condense the desolation pill. A few months later, Lu Ming had finished comprehending all the ordinary secret skills. They had all turned into secret skill runes and merged with his cells. Unfortunately, his combat power was still at the limit of 12 stars. He had not broken through to 13 stars. Of course, it was also because the secret skills that he had comprehended were only at the beginner level. They were far from reaching the greater success level. There were close to 20,000 ordinary secret skills that were still at the beginner level. Lu Ming believed that once he mastered all these ordinary secret skills, his combat power should be able to reach 13 stars. However, it would take a long time and effort to master all 20,000 ordinary secret skills. He had no time to cultivate them now. He could only wait until he left the Grand Supreme Immortal City and slowly comprehend them. At this time, Lu Ming planned to go out for a walk. However, before Lu Ming could make a move, someone else had already arrived. Needless to say, it was the heavenly human tribe again. Lu Ming looked into the distance and saw a group of heavenly human tribe members coming over. There were about a dozen young heavenly human tribe members in the lead. They were all handsome and handsome. There were both men and women. One look and one could tell that they were extraordinary. Behind them were more than 200 strong heavenly human tribe members. Their auras were also very powerful. They were all elites. These heavenly human tribe members stopped in the distance and glanced at Lu Ming. Mu Yun, come out and die. A burly young heavenly human tribe member stepped out. His eyes were unusually cold. Come in and die if you dare. Lu Ming shouted. Of course, he would not go out. You dared to kill my brother, Yelu Gu. I will make you suffer a fate worse than death, the burly young man shouted. This young man was Yelu Ge's older brother, Yelu Di. You sure talk a lot of nonsense. Your brother talks as much nonsense as you, and in the end, he died. If you have the ability, then come in and kill me. Lu Ming immediately retorted. Humph, do you think we can't do anything to you if you hide inside? Yelu Di said coldly, then waved his hand, bring them out. Immediately, a few burly heavenly human tribe men came out with two people. Upon seeing these two people, Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank. Dandan, Ling Yue. Lu Ming muttered and frowned. That's right, these two people were Dandan and Ling Yue. They had always been in the heavenly palace, but now that they were pushed out by the people of the heavenly human tribe, Lu Ming had a bad premonition in his heart. Dandan had a crying face. When he saw Lu Ming, he immediately shouted, all right, Mu Yun, so you're here. Back then, you borrowed a few hundred stalks of divine medicine from me and then disappeared without a trace. I've been looking for you for hundreds of years, but I couldn't find you. Now, hurry up and return the divine medicine to me, otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you. After saying that, Dandan turned to the celestial tribe and said with a smile, Lords of the celestial tribe, let me tell you, this Mu Yun is ungrateful. I helped him a few times because he was an honest person. I didn't expect him to be so ungrateful. Today, I'm breaking off all relations with him. Bah, I wasn't familiar with him before. Dandan did his best to distance himself from Lu Ming. As for Ling Yue, she was in charge of looking at Lu Ming. She bit her lips and didn't say a word. Humph, don't talk nonsense here. We are very clear about the relationship between the two of you and Mu Yun. Yelu Di coldly snorted and interrupted Dandan's words. Then, Yelu Di looked at Lu Ming and said, Mu Yun, you have stayed in the heavenly palace before, so you should be clear that the two of them are controlled by the restrictive power of the heavenly palace's armor. Right now, the method to control that restrictive power is in my hands. At this point, an arrayed disc appeared in Yelu Di's hand and he continued, as long as I have a thought, the restrictive power in their bodies will explode. At that time, their bodies and souls will be destroyed, and nothing will be left behind. Lu Ming's expression was extremely ugly. What he was worried about still happened. When he first joined the heavenly palace, he, Dandan, and Ling Yue were too close. Furthermore, he and Ling Yue were still an unmarried couple in name, so it was very easy for the heavenly palace to grab hold of them. Although he had broken through the power of the heavenly palace's armor and left the heavenly palace, he had always been worried about Dandan and Ling Yue, afraid that the heavenly palace would deal with them. Sure enough, the people of the heavenly palace were starting to threaten him with Dandan and Ling Yue. Mu Yun, so what if you're hiding inside and have 4 big trees protecting you? Now, I'll let your friend and your fiancé go in and kill you. Let's see if you have the courage to kill them all, he he he. Yelu Di laughed coldly. His laughter was extremely sinister. Then, his gaze swept towards Dandan and Ling Yue, and he berated, "Now, the two of you go over and bring Mu Yun's head over. Let me tell you, if you don't kill Lu Ming, then you will die under the power of the restriction, and your bodies and souls will be destroyed. Nest, you guys are too despicable. If you have the ability, then go and kill him yourself. Using such a method, aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? I finally know your heavenly human race. The word despicable is tailor-made for you guys." Dandan shouted. "How dare you!" Yelu Di shouted loudly. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Dandan. With a slap, he sent Dandan flying a few meters away and berated, "You dare to insult the heavenly human race? Do you know that this is a great crime that will exterminate your race? Be careful that the world's divine turtle race will be exterminated because of you." "Fuck!" Dandan roared in his heart. His eyes flashed with a fierce light as he stared fiercely at Yelu Di. Who was he? When had someone dared to slap him? He was incomparably furious. If his life wasn't in the other party's hands, he would have immediately gone all out. "Lu Ming, what should we do?" At this moment, Yi Ling appeared beside Lu Ming and asked Lu Ming in a low voice. Lu Ming didn't say anything. His face was incomparably gloomy. To be honest, he didn't know what to do either. This was a dilemma. The people of the heavenly human race had forced Lu Ming and Ling Yue to kill him. Could he control them to attack Dandan and Ling Yue? Even if he controlled the big tree and didn't kill Dandan and Ling Yue, but only controlled them, the heavenly human race would probably activate the power of the restriction to kill Dandan and Ling Yue. However, if he didn't resist, he would be killed. How should he choose? On one side was the lives of Dandan and Ling Yue, and on the other side was his own life. Of course, he didn't want to die, but he also didn't want Dandan and Ling Yue to die. However, for a moment, he couldn't think of a way to solve this problem. Chapter 4370. He had no way to solve this problem. Although he could rely on his taboo power to refine the restriction power contained in the Heavenly Palace battle armor, he couldn't help others refine it. Even if he controlled Dandan and Ling Yue, he couldn't help them refine it. "I'll give you 3 breaths of time. Hurry up and make your move. If you don't, you'll be the ones to die," Yelu Di said coldly. He raised the array disc in his hand and injected his power into it. The array disc lit up and runes filled the air. Dandan and Ling Yue's bodies trembled slightly. Runes also appeared on the surface of their skin. "Wait a minute, I didn't say I wouldn't make a move. What are you so anxious about?" Dandan shouted. "Then make your move," Yelu Di said. "We can make a move, but I have a condition," Dandan shouted. "What condition?" Yelu Di asked with a gloomy face. At this time, this guy actually dared to negotiate with him. He was very unhappy. "Give me 300 pill furnaces with a diameter of 1 meter and 10 pill furnaces with a diameter of 3 meters. We'll kill Mu Yun," Dandan said. "What? What did you say?" Yelu Di shouted, thinking that he had heard wrongly. At this time, Dandan actually made such a condition with him. Was he crazy? Didn't he know that his life was in his hands? "You should have heard what I said very clearly," Dandan said. "Do you think it's possible?" Yelu Di sneered. "Why is it impossible? You should know Mu Yun. He is ruthless, lawless, and extremely selfish. Although I have some friendship with him, if I kill him, he will definitely kill us without hesitation in order to protect himself. I am risking my life to kill him. Shouldn't I get some reward?" Dandan said. In the distance, Lu Ming was speechless. Bullshit. Yelu Di wanted to curse out loud. Dandan was talking nonsense. They had long since investigated Lu Ming, and knew that Lu Ming was an extremely loyal person. He would definitely not attack his own people. Especially Ling Yue, who was Lu Ming's fiancée. They were certain that Lu Ming wouldn't make a move, which was why they let Dandan and Ling Yue kill Lu Ming. Little bastard, hurry up and go. You have no right to negotiate with me. Yelu Di berated. You don't want to give it to me, right? If you don't want to give it to me, then activate the power of the restriction and kill us right now. Let's see how you're going to kill Mu Yun after you kill us. You must know that the merit of killing him is far more than the value of these pill furnaces. Dandan said as he crossed his arms, looking like he was saying, kill me if you want. Ling Yue also nodded her head, as if Dandan's intentions were her intentions. Damned ant, Yelu Di roared in his heart as killing intent burst out from his body. He wished that he could kill Dandan and Ling Yue with 2 slaps. But he couldn't. He had to rely on Dandan and Ling Yue to kill Lu Ming. Above the earth vein, Lu Ming was also somewhat puzzled. He couldn't guess what Dandan's goal was. However, he understood Dandan and knew that Dandan was very smart. There must be a reason for him to do this. Agree to him first. At this time, another heavenly human clan genius said. This person was a woman with waist-length blonde hair. She was extremely beautiful. At this time, a peerless genius who was not weaker than Yelu Di also had a combat strength of 10 stars. Amongst the younger generation of geniuses in the heavenly human clan, having a combat strength of 10 stars was the highest talent below the son of heaven or the daughter of heaven. Give it to him? Yelu Di asked in return. That's right, we've investigated it very clearly. Although Mu Yun's talent is high, he has a huge weakness, which is that he values friendship. He definitely won't kill this world god turtle and Ling Yue, so the final result will definitely be Mu Yun's death. After killing Lu Ming, there's no need to keep these 2 people alive. So what if we give them the pill furnace first? When the time comes, won't it be easy to get it back? The heavenly human clan woman said. Of course, she said this through sound transmission to avoid being heard by Dandan. That's right. Yeludi's eyes lit up. He then looked at Dandan and said, I can agree to your conditions. After saying that, he took out a storage ring, fiddled with it a few times, and threw it at Dandan, saying, there are 300 pill furnaces with a diameter of 1 meter and Master's pill furnace with a diameter of 3 meters. Take a look. Dandan received it and scanned it with his spiritual sense, revealing a trace of a smile. Inside, there were indeed 310 pill furnaces. Dandan kept them in his storage ring and then looked at Ling Yue. Then, he looked at Lu Ming. Mu Yun, for the sake of our many years of friendship, you should give up your life. This way, you can still save your fiancé's life. Dandan shouted and rushed towards Lu Ming. Ling Yue followed closely beside Dandan and walked side by side. However, after the 2 of them rushed out for a distance, they stopped. After Dandan stopped, he waved his hands continuously. Countless runes filled the air and entered the void. These runes intertwined with each other to form a huge formation. What are you doing? Why are you setting up a formation here? Why aren't you going to kill Mu Yun? Yelu Di berated. What are you in such a hurry for? Do you think Mu Yun is so easy to kill? I set up the formation to kill him. Dandan said and continued to set up the formation. The people of celestial race could only wait. Lu Ming watched from afar and frowned. He could not figure out Dandan's goal, but in his heart, he had a bad premonition. More than 10 minutes later, a huge array diagram appeared in the sky. A huge array was condensed. Attack! Dandan and Ling Yue looked at each other, shouted, and began to attack. The array diagram in the sky emitted a dazzling light and condensed into a spear. With a swoosh, the spear flew through the air at an extremely fast speed. However, this long spear was not aimed at Lu Ming. Instead, it was aimed at Yelu Di. When Dandan made his move, Ling Yue also made her move. Behind her, a towering tree appeared. At this moment, the towering tree burned fiercely, turning into an endless amount of strength qi that poured into Ling Yue's body. A battle bow appeared in Ling Yuwei's hand. She drew the bow and an arrow condensed. With a swoosh, it flew through the air and shot towards Yeludi. Ling Yuwei was going all out with this arrow. She burned her divine power with all her might. The cultivation of the two of them had already reached the 8th level of the Divine Lord realm. This was far beyond Lu Ming's expectations. In fact, the reason why Dandan and Ling Yuwei's cultivations were able to make such great progress was completely due to the nurturing of the celestial race. The people of the celestial race wanted to control the two of them to kill Lu Ming, so they gave them a large amount of desolate pills to raise their cultivation. Their cultivation was too low. Even if Lu Ming wanted them to kill him, they wouldn't be able to. The purpose of giving Dandan and Ling Yuwei a large amount of resources to raise their cultivation was to kill Lu Ming. They never thought that the two of them would attack them instead. Chapter 43-71. You are courting death. Yeludi roared as a long spear condensed in his palm. The long spear shook and turned into two spear shadows, colliding with Dandan and Ling Wei's attacks, easily destroying their attacks. Yeludi's cultivation was at the 9th level of the Emperor God realm, and he had a battle strength of 10 stars. Although Dandan and Ling Wei had reached the 8th level of the Emperor God realm and were using their full strength, they were still far from Yeludi's strength. Mu Yun, here you go. At this moment, Dandan waved his hand and a storage ring flew towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Then, Dandan and Ling Wei shouted and rushed towards Yeludi. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He finally guessed what Dandan and Ling Wei's goal was. They didn't plan to attack Lu Ming at all. From the beginning, they had the heart to die. They would rather die than attack Lu Ming. They understood Lu Ming very well. If they attacked Lu Ming would most likely not fight back. They would definitely not kill Lu Ming. Their only choice was to sacrifice themselves. Turning to attack Yeludi and the others, their fate was already decided. Stop, I'll give you one more chance. Stop, or your body and soul will be destroyed. Yeludi roared. So much nonsense, you're the one who's going to die. Dandan shouted as he controlled the formation and continued to attack. Ling Yuwei, on the other hand, did not say a word. She drew her bow and another arrow flew out. Despicable bastards, since you're courting death, then die for me. Yeludi roared as the formation plate in his hand emitted a dazzling light. He had already activated the formation and activated the restrictive power in Dandan and Ling Yuwei's bodies. The restrictive power of the Heavenly Palace armor spread into every cell in their bodies. At this moment, it burst out from every cell. A wave of energy spread out from their bodies like flames, burning fiercely. Their bodies started to crumble under this power. Damn it, stop! Lu Ming roared. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he rushed out to help. However, it was already too late. The power of the restrictions on the Heavenly Palace battle armor exploded too quickly. Dandan and Ling Yue's bodies were quickly dissipating like a wisp of dust that was blown away by the wind. By the time Lu Ming rushed out of the earth vein, the bodies of the two had already completely collapsed. There were only 2 balls of light floating in the air. These 2 balls of light were the souls of Dandan's duo. However, the power of the Heavenly Palace armor was too terrifying. Not only could it destroy the body, but it could also destroy the soul. At this moment, their souls were also burning like flames, as if they would be destroyed at any moment. But at this time, runes suddenly spread out from their souls. These runes interweaved into a mysterious pattern, enveloping the souls of the 2 people within. At the same time, the void began to ripple like water. This power enveloped the souls of both of them. Under the dual effects of the rune formation, the restrictive power was suppressed, and the souls of the 2 men stopped disintegrating. However, although their souls had stopped disintegrating, their eyes were tightly shut. There was no movement at all, nor was there any sign of life. Lu Ming's heart sank. At the same time, he pushed his speed to the limit and rushed towards Dandan and Ling Yue's souls, wanting to protect their souls. Yeludi and the rest of the heavenly human race were stunned at first. In their opinion, as long as they activated the power of the restriction, the two of them would die. Whether it was their bodies or souls, they would not be left behind and would vanish into thin air. However, their souls seemed to be protected by two forces. What was going on? However, they quickly reacted. No matter what kind of power you have, you will be destroyed today. Not a single trace can be left behind. Yeludi said coldly. He took a step forward and attacked Dandan and Ling Yue's souls. A violent power erupted, wanting to completely crush their souls. Scram! Lu Ming roared. His eyes were about to split open as he used the heaven-splitting style. His body turned into a spear light and stabbed towards Yeludi. Mu Yun. Yeludi's eyes burst into flames. He directly abandoned Dandan and Ling Yue's souls and turned to attack Lu Ming. His target was originally Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming had actually taken the initiative to leave the earth vein and leave the protection. How could he miss this opportunity? Holding the spear in his hand, he stabbed towards Lu Ming like an invincible war god. The spear light and the spear collided in the air, erupting with an earth-shattering boom. The spear light that Lu Ming had transformed into trembled continuously. In the next moment, it directly collapsed. Lu Ming's body shook violently as he retreated explosively. In a head-on confrontation, Lu Ming was no match for him. The other party had 10 stars of battle strength. His overall battle strength was 1 star higher than Lu Ming's. Kill! Yeludi roared. His spear did not stop. It turned into thousands of spear shadows and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming blocked a few moves in a row. Unfortunately, he was no match for him. He coughed out blood and retreated. If he had not mastered many ancient secret techniques, his body would have been pierced by the spear. Even so, he was incomparably embarrassed. Yeludi, do you want to take all the benefits for yourself? Mu Yun, leave it to me. The heavenly human tribe woman also rushed over at this moment. She held a long sword in her hand and thousands of sword shadows stabbed towards Lu Ming. This woman's battle strength was no weaker than Yeludi's. She also wanted to kill Lu Ming. This was a great merit. How could she let Yeludi enjoy it alone? Facing the power of two experts, even if Lu Ming had mastered many secret techniques and had many adaptations, it was still very dangerous. He barely managed to block a few moves. His body was swept by a sword light and was almost split in half. Die for me. The heavenly human tribe woman shouted coldly. She wanted to kill Lu Ming in one go. However, at this moment, a sword light suddenly shot out from the other side and blocked the heavenly human tribe woman's sword light. It was Yi Ling. Just now, when Lu Ming moved, he also rushed out. However, he was one step slower and arrived just in time. Traitor Yi Ling, do you want to die? The heavenly human tribe woman obviously knew Yi Ling. She shouted coldly and the sharp sword light went straight for Yi Ling's forehead. Yi Ling pushed his battle strength to the extreme and counterattacked with all his might. The two sword lights fought fast and collided more than 10 times in an instant. However, Yi Ling's combat power was also 1 star lower than his opponent's. He was no match for him. After a dozen exchanges, he was hit by a sword beam. A deep sword wound appeared on his chest, dripping with blood. Kill! Kill! Yeludi, the heavenly human tribe woman, and even the other experts of the heavenly human tribe all attacked. They charged towards Lu Ming together, wanting to kill Lu Ming and obtain the greatest merit. With so many people attacking together, and several of them were experts of the same level as Yeludi, Lu Ming definitely could not avoid them. Chapter 43-72. There were at least 4 experts who were at the same level as Yeludi. Lu Ming could not handle one of them, let alone the 4 of them. Lu Ming was no match for them at all. Even with Yi Ling, it was useless. He could not avoid them even if he wanted to. It seemed that Lu Ming and Yi Ling were about to be in danger. All of a sudden, ripples spread through the air like water. First, the souls of Dandan and Ling Yue flickered and disappeared from their original positions. Then, Yelu Di and the others seemed to have fallen into a quagmire. They were greatly hindered and their bodies slowed down. Space-time power. Who is it? Come out. Yelu Di roared and the heavenly annihilation power erupted. The long spear swept across and there was an explosion in the void. The force was forcibly split open. The other experts also used their strongest heavenly force to break open the force. It's really space-time power. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His eyes flashed. He was very familiar with the space-time power. It came from bubbles. Could it be? There was no time to think. Lu Ming shouted, "Let's go." At this moment, Yelu Di and the others were disturbed by the space-time power. It was a good opportunity to escape. Lu Ming and Yi Ling took the opportunity to leave their original positions. They appeared thousands of miles away and escaped the encirclement. You want to leave? Go to hell. Yelu Di roared and held the long spear in his hand. His entire body was shrouded in the heavenly annihilation power. He was like a destructive god of war. He chased after Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. As soon as Lu Ming escaped the encirclement, Yelu Di had already arrived. The other three experts of the same level were not slow either. 3 attacks were aimed at Lu Ming's vital points. However, as soon as their attacks were launched, the space around them rippled again. The space was like water, filled with layers of ripples. It was as if time had frozen in that area. This was an extremely powerful space-time power. It pressed down on the people of the heavenly human tribe and slowed their movements. Lu Ming and Yi Ling took the opportunity to dodge the attacks again. How dare you meddle in our affairs? Get out here. A burly prodigy of the heavenly human tribe wielded a heavy battle sword and slashed at a spot in the void. A huge sword light slashed out violently, and a huge explosion occurred in the void. A petite figure suddenly appeared in the void in front of him. She seemed to be surrounded by layers of space, as if she was not in this space-time. The sword light slashed out, but it was unable to hit the figure. Instead, it was exploited by the space-time power layer by layer, and finally disappeared. Bubbles, Lu Ming exclaimed in surprise. That's right, this petite figure was Bubbles. Lu Ming definitely wouldn't be mistaken. They hadn't seen each other for many years. Even though Bubble had grown up a lot and looked like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, Lu Ming still recognized her at a glance. The aura of the origin of life wouldn't change. Bubbles' figure flickered and disappeared from the primordial world. In the next moment, it appeared beside Lu Ming. Big brother Lu Ming, Bubble exclaimed in surprise. She actually recognized Lu Ming. Moreover, she used the voice transmission method, as if she was afraid that others would know. Bubble, why are you here? How did you recognize me? Lu Ming couldn't help but ask. So you're a space-time spirit mouse. How dare you? Space-time spirit mice, are you trying to annihilate your tribe? Yelu Di shouted coldly. His killing intent was cold and his eyes flashed with a cold light. They recognized Bubble's true form at a glance. I'll explain later. Let's retreat first. Bubble said. The space-time power spread out and brought Lu Ming and Yi Ling back to the Earth vein. You want to retreat? You can't. Kill. The 4 top prodigies of the heavenly human tribe attacked at the same time. They attacked Lu Ming, Bubble, and the others. In addition, there were more than a dozen experts of the heavenly human tribe who were weaker. These second-rate experts were also very terrifying. Every one of them could fight with Lu Ming and Yi Ling. Any one of them could threaten their lives. With so many experts attacking at the same time, Lu Ming and the group felt a deadly sense of crisis. Space-time. At this moment, Bubble shouted. Her delicate body emitted a powerful aura. Ninth layer Divine God Realm. Lu Ming realized that Bubble's cultivation had reached the ninth layer Divine God Realm. This was shocking. One must know that when Bubble and Dandan had left together, Bubble's cultivation was not very high back then. Her cultivation was even inferior to Dandan's. However, Bubble's cultivation had now far surpassed Dandan's. Bubble must have had an amazing fortuitous encounter. When Lu Ming participated in the selection of heavenly soldiers in the Heavenly Palace, he met Dandan but did not see Bubble. Lu Ming was very curious and had asked Dandan where Bubble was. Dandan had said that Bubble had entered one of the ancestral lands of the spacetime spirit mice. That was all. Lu Ming knew that Bubble had entered one of the ancestral lands of the spacetime spirit mice. He didn't know anything else. So many years had passed in the blink of an eye. They hadn't seen each other until now, but Bubble had already shown her amazing cultivation. Not only did Bubble show her cultivation of the ninth layer Divine God Realm, but at the same time, her glabella emitted a dazzling light. Then, two words flew out. One was time, and the other was space. The two words flew up into the sky and rapidly became bigger. Each word was as big as a planet and emitted a mysterious aura. The time and space of this area and this world seemed to be controlled by the two words. These are the origin ancient words time and space. Lu Ming was astonished. He recognized the two words at a glance. They were the origin ancient words. Bubble had controlled two origin ancient words. The most shocking thing was that they were time and space. They were compatible with Bubble's talent. The power they could unleash was unpredictable. Lu Ming was even more certain that Bubble had encountered an amazing fortuitous encounter. Whoosh! The space in this area was constantly distorted and then squeezed toward Yeludi and the others. To be honest, Yeludi and the others were shocked and they saw Bubble use the two origin ancient words. However, they quickly reacted. Do you think you can stop us with just the origin ancient words? Break. Even the power of spacetime has to yield to the power of heaven. The heavenly human tribe sky prides roared and the power of heaven burst out and swept in all directions. The power of heaven was indeed powerful. Even though Bubble was supported by the two origin ancient words and the power of spacetime was terrifyingly strong, it was still broken by them. However, the heavenly human tribe's members were still greatly affected. Bubble's strength was beyond their expectations. With the two origin ancient words as the foundation and her talent, she was able to compete with Yeludi, who had a 10-star battle strength. If she was just a support, she could unleash more power. Attack! Lu Ming and Bubble's tacit understanding was still there. When he saw that the heavenly human tribe's members were affected, he immediately attacked with all his strength. He turned into a spear light and stabbed toward Yeludi. Chapter 43-73. Lu Ming activated the sky-splitting form to the maximum and turned into a spear radiance, stabbing towards Yeludi. Break it! Yeludi roared and swung his spear, breaking through the spacetime power and colliding with the spear radiance that Lu Ming had turned into. This time, Yeludi did not gain the upper hand. They were evenly matched. Both of them took a step back. Although Yeludi had broken through the spacetime power, he was still greatly affected. His combat strength was reduced and he could no longer suppress Lu Ming. At the same time, Yiling also took action and blocked the attack of the female heavenly human tribe's supreme talent. However, there were other experts from the heavenly human tribe who charged towards Lu Ming and the rest. There were too many of them. Even with Bubble's spacetime power, Lu Ming and the rest were still no match for them. However, at this moment, there was a terrifying sound of the air being torn apart. There were 8 attacks in total and each attack was of a different color. However, their power was extremely shocking. These 8 attacks were directed towards the heavenly human tribe. This is the power of 9 orifices sacred heart. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He was very familiar with this power. It was Autumn Moon's power of 9 orifices sacred heart. Indeed, Lu Ming looked around and saw a figure in the distance. Her entire body was shrouded in colorful light. If it was not Autumn Moon, who else could it be? It was obvious that Autumn Moon was not in this star palace previously but in another star palace. Now, she must have crossed over to this star palace. The power of Autumn Moon's attack was extremely terrifying. Those who were hit by the colorful light were forced to retreat. In a flash, Autumn Moon arrived at the battlefield. She looked at Lu Ming with joy. Another one who is courting death. It's her, the traitor of the Heavenly Palace, the disciple of Master God Meng Su. Very well, since they're all here, let's get rid of them together. Yelu Di and the rest shouted coldly. Some of them charged towards Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon, be careful. Lu Ming shouted. Autumn Moon smiled. His heart emitted a resplendent glow. There were 9 colors, but 8 of them were extremely dazzling. It was as if there was a colorful sun in his chest. 8 types of dazzling light intertwined together to form a colorful scimitar that slashed toward the heavenly human tribe prodigy. Boom! The 8-colored scimitar collided with the heavenly human race's prodigy. The heavenly human race's prodigy's body trembled violently and retreated rapidly. A saber wound appeared on his arm, and it was almost chopped off. The prodigy of the heavenly human tribe was no match for Autumn Moon. Even Lu Ming was stunned for a moment. Autumn Moon, what powerful strength! Lu Ming's heart thumped violently. That young genius from the heavenly human clan was one of the 4 strongest young geniuses there. He had the strength of the 9th great supreme god layer and 10 stars of battle prowess. Such an expert was actually suppressed by Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon also has 10 stars of battle prowess and his cultivation has reached the 9th great supreme god layer. Lu Ming judged Autumn Moon's battle prowess and cultivation level. He was truly shocked. It seemed that Autumn Moon had also obtained great opportunities in the other astral palaces. When Lu Ming first met Autumn Moon after leaving the Heavenly Palace, Autumn Moon's 9 orifices sacred heart only had 1 color that was extremely dazzling. But now, Qiu Yu had a total of 8 orifices that were releasing powerful energy. There were 8 different colors and they were incomparably dazzling. The power of the 9 orifices sacred heart was almost fully unleashed. Autumn Moon's battle prowess was not any weaker than Yeludi's. It could be said that they were on the same level. Autumn Moon was able to gain the upper hand and injure the heavenly human tribe's prodigy with 1 strike because of Bubble's spacetime energy. Sister Autumn Moon, you're so powerful. Let's continue, Bubble shouted excitedly and continued to activate the 2 origin ancient words. The spacetime energy continued to suppress the people of the heavenly human tribe. At the same time, Autumn Moon attacked. The power of the 9 orifices sacred heart turned into a machete and slashed out continuously. The sky was filled with colorful light. In addition, Lu Ming and Yiling also attacked with all their might. For a moment, the people of the heavenly human tribe were forced to retreat. Damn it, the people of the heavenly human tribe roared in anger. On the surface, their battle prowess was clearly above Lu Ming's, but in reality, they were at a disadvantage. This was mainly because of the spacetime energy. The spacetime energy was too much of a hindrance to them. The spacetime energy could be said to be the strongest auxiliary power, especially when it was supported by the 2 origin ancient words, time and space. The power that burst out was even more shocking. Even the supreme power of the heavenly human tribe could not break through it so easily. It did not mean that the spacetime energy was stronger than the supreme power of the heavenly human tribe. The spacetime energy of an ordinary spacetime spirit mouse was far from that strong. It was definitely not comparable to the 4 supreme powers of the heavenly human tribe. However, Bubble was different. Bubble's talent was very high. With the help of the 2 origin ancient words, the spacetime energy had undergone a qualitative change. It was no longer weaker than the supreme power. Being affected by the spacetime energy, it was difficult for her to fully display her battle prowess. On the other hand, Autumn Moon's battle prowess could be fully displayed. Naturally, she could suppress the heavenly human tribe. No matter how angry the people of the heavenly human tribe were, they could not change the fact. They kept retreating. Some of the weaker ones were even injured and almost died here. Formation, 9 Heavens Battle Formation, Yeludi shouted at the strong men of the heavenly human tribe. There were hundreds of strong men of the heavenly human tribe in the surroundings. At this moment, they began to move, preparing to set up the 9 Heavens Battle Formation to deal with Lu Ming and the others. Bubble, bring us to destroy their formation. Lu Ming said to Bubble. Okay. Bubble replied. The space-time energy enveloped Lu Ming and the others. In a flash, Lu Ming and the others appeared among the heavenly human tribe. Then, the power of time and space exploded, and the void distorted, forming a powerful pressure. The strong men of the heavenly human tribe suddenly felt like they were in a quagmire. They tried their best, but their movements were as slow as a turtle's. There was a big gap between their strength and Bubble's. Naturally, it was not easy for them to break through Bubble's space-time energy. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. Spear radiance burst out and instantly, 6 strong men of the 9th layer divine god realm were pierced through their foreheads by the spear radiance. They died immediately. At the same time, Yiling and Autumn Moon also attacked mercilessly. A wave of attacks killed more than 10 strong men of the heavenly human tribe. Under the influence of the space-time energy, they could not set up the 9 Heavens Battle Formation because there was not enough time. Damn it, Yeludi and the others were furious. Their eyes were bloodshot and they could not wait to cut Lu Ming and the others into pieces. Unfortunately, they could not do it with their strength. Retreat, retreat. In the end, Yeludi and the others had no choice but to give the order to retreat. They rushed over and broke through the space-time energy. In the blink of an eye, they were far away. They had come with such a big force, but in the end, they ran away in a sorry state. After the heavenly human tribe left, Lu Ming and the others returned to the earth vein. After all, there were 4 big trees guarding it, so it was safer. Chapter 43-74. Big Brother Lu Ming, long time no see. I missed you so much. Bubbles directly hung on Lu Ming's neck, just like before. Cough cough, Bubbles, be reserved, be reserved. You've grown up now, you're different from before. Lu Ming quickly coughed a few times, his old face slightly red. If Big Brother Lu Ming dislikes Bubbles, then just make them smaller. Bubbles jumped down from Lu Ming's neck and pouted. Her cute little face was filled with displeasure. How could that be? How could I dislike Bubbles? Lu Ming rubbed Bubbles' head and quickly changed the topic, asking, Bubbles, how did you recognize me? Am I a completely different person now? This was his present body, but Bubbles was able to recognize him at a glance. Furthermore, she directly helped him and offended the celestial race. This made him very curious. It was that guy Dandan who told me. Bubbles said. Dandan. At the mention of Dandan, Lu Ming's heart immediately sank, and he said, Bubbles, how are Dandan and the others? Quickly take them out and let's see. Bubbles nodded. With a wave of his hand, Dandan and Ling Yue's souls appeared in the air. Both of their souls had their eyes tightly shut. Their souls were covered in layers of runes, and at the same time, they were enveloped by the power of time and space. It seemed that the situation was not good. Dandan used a formation to protect his soul, and then with my power of time and space, he temporarily suppressed the power of the restriction in his soul. However, he couldn't suppress it for long. In at most 3 years, their souls would also turn into ashes. Bubbles said. What? It can only be suppressed for 3 years? Lu Ming's heart shook violently, and his expression became even uglier. In 3 years, it will vanish into thin air. Is there no way to save it? Lu Ming asked. Yes, Dandan told me a method before. Bubbles said. Dandan told you a method? Could it be that Dandan had anticipated this? Lu Ming asked. Yes. Actually, Dandan had anticipated this day ever since he found out about your relationship with the Heavenly Palace. Later on, they were controlled into the Taishang Immortal City, and Dandan began to make arrangements. One time, he happened to meet me and told me about your situation. He also told me that the Heavenly Human Tribe would definitely use them to deal with you, Big Brother Lu Ming, so he had a backup plan. He set up a formation in his and Sister Yue's souls in advance. He asked me to help him with the power of time and space to buy time for them. I'll have to rely on you for the rest. Bubbles said. What does Dandan want me to do? Lu Ming asked. Dandan told me that before entering the Taishang Immortal City, he had read a lot of information and the experience passed down by the seniors of the Black Tortoise clan. He knew that there was an immortal mountain in the Tiankue Star Palace, and there was a treasure called the 5 Elemental Fairy Tear. As long as you can get the 5 Elemental Fairy Tear, you can save them. Bubbles said. Tiankue Star Palace, 5 Elemental Fairy Tear? Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a shocking light. He had to get it. Dandan was indeed a cunning old fox. He had left a way out for himself. Otherwise, how could he die so easily? Dandan had already made arrangements, and he would definitely complete the rest. There's no time to lose. I plan to set off immediately to the Tiankue Star Palace to look for the 5 Elemental Fairy Tear. Lu Ming said. Young master, I'll go with you. Qiu Yu said immediately. Big Brother Lu Ming, don't think about leaving me behind. Bubbles also said immediately. Their attitude was firm, and it was obvious that Lu Ming could not refuse. Brother Lu, how about this? I'll stay here and help you refine the desolation pills. Yi Ling said with a smile. Thank you. Lu Ming cupped his fists, feeling very grateful. Yi Ling knew him very well. Lu Ming's current cultivation was still a little weak. He was only in the 8th layer of the Great Supreme God Realm. Only when he broke through to the 9th layer of the Great Supreme God Realm would he be truly powerful and fearless. However, Lu Ming needed too many desolation pills to break through to the 9th layer of the Great Supreme God Realm. A total of 12 billion. If they all went to the Tiankue Star area to look for the 5 Elemental Fairy Tear, who would help Lu Ming refine the pills? What would Lu Ming use to break through? Yi Ling knew this very well. That was why he did not say that he wanted to look for the 5 Elemental Fairy Tear. Instead, he said that he wanted to help Lu Ming refine the pills. This would be a great help to Lu Ming. After all, there was not much time left before they left the 2nd level of the Taishang Immortal City. Brother Lu Ming, I also have many pill furnaces here. Take them. Bubbles waved his hand and a large pile of pill furnaces flew out. There were no less than 300 of them. Bubble alone actually had so many pill furnaces. This was too shocking. However, after thinking about it, it made sense. The space-time energy was too mysterious. It might not be the strongest in terms of offense, but in other aspects, it was extremely mysterious. With the space-time energy, it would be much easier for him to obtain pill furnaces than others. Young master, I have some too. Autumn Moon also took out her pill furnaces. Autumn Moon did not have many pill furnaces, only a little more than 100. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony. He took all of them and handed them to Yi Ling. With so many pill furnaces, he should be able to gather enough desolation pills in 10 years. Even if it was not enough, it would not be too far away. Brother Yi, I'll leave this place to you. Lu Ming said. It's okay. With the 4 trees, they can't do anything to me. Yi Ling smiled. Then I'll take my leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists and gave the 4 trees an order. Then, he left with Bubbles and Autumn Moon. After Lu Ming and the other 2 left, they purposely revealed their whereabouts to the Heavenly Human Tribe. He did this to prevent the Heavenly Human Tribe from gathering their forces and besieging the Earth vein in the future. The 4 trees alone might not be able to stop them. However, after he left, the heavenly human tribe would not have to risk their lives to besiege the earth vein. That way, Yi Ling could refine the desolation pills in peace. It would affect whether he could break through to the 9th level of the divine god realm. He could not be careless. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others came to an open space. Autumn Moon and Bubbles had crossed the starry sky barrier to come here. Naturally, they knew where the space was weaker. The space here was weaker and it was easier to break through the barrier. "I'll go first," Bubbles cried out. With a wave of her little hand, the space was forcefully torn apart. "Brother Lu Ming, I'll go first," Bubbles said. She took a step forward and disappeared into the space. Apparently, she had entered another star palace. "Young master, you go first." Autumn Moon looked at Lu Ming. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. Forbidden energy burst out and his palm slashed down like a knife. One could not bring others to cross the barrier of the star palace. The person who broke through the barrier could only pass through and could not bring others with him. Bubbles burst and only she could pass through. She could not bring Lu Ming and Autumn Moon with her. If Lu Ming and Autumn Moon wanted to pass through, they could only do it themselves. Swoosh! Lu Ming's palm slashed down and the space was torn apart. Chapter 43-75. With Lu Ming's current strength, it was not difficult for him to break the barrier between the star palaces. He found that as long as he had the battle strength of a 5th star emperor god, he could break the barrier between the star palaces. Lu Ming took a step forward, stepped into the space crack and disappeared. In the next moment, Lu Ming found himself in a new place. This should be the Brave Star Palace, Lu Ming thought. This was obviously not the Leader Star Palace. The Leader Star Palace was not next to the Mighty Star Palace. They had to pass through several other heavenly palaces to reach the Leader Star Palace. Bubbles was already waiting here. At this time, the void filled up and Autumn Moon's figure appeared. Then, they turned into a few rays of light and left to find the weak point of the Brave Star Palace. The environment here is not much different from the Profound Sky Star Palace. While flying, Lu Ming observed. The environment of the Brave Star Palace was not much different from the Mighty Star Palace. The aura was almost the same. It was also filled with a rich desolate aura. Sometimes, they could even see a earth vein. Soon, they arrived at a weak point in the space and continued to break through the void to enter the next star palace. Just like that, they arrived at the Leader Star Palace after a few transits. On the way, Lu Ming asked Xiao Yu and Bubbles about what had happened to them during this period. The two of them had obtained great opportunities. Autumn Moon entered an immortal mansion in the most supreme immortal palace and obtained great opportunities. Her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, and she had opened 8 of the 9 orifices of the Sacred Heart, which had greatly increased its power. Lu Ming suddenly understood. No wonder Autumn Moon did not obtain many pill furnaces, but her cultivation had reached the 9th star Emperor God realm. It had a lot to do with the opportunities in the immortal mansion. Bubbles' opportunities in the most supreme immortal palace were very ordinary. However, Bubbles had obtained great opportunities in the primitive universe. She had obtained 2 origin ancient characters and her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. With that as a foundation and the mysterious power of time and space, she had obtained a large number of pill furnaces and refined a large number of primitive pills. Her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Each of them had their own fortuitous encounters. "Look, the 5 elements immortal mountain," Bubbles suddenly shouted. Lu Ming looked ahead. Indeed, there was a mountain in front of them. The mountain was actually floating in the air. The mountain had 5 colors: gold, red, blue, green, and yellow. They corresponded with the colors of the 5 elements. This was the 5 elements immortal mountain, their destination. This 5 phases immortal mountain appeared about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a miraculous place in the heavenly stalwarts planetary system. Supposedly, it contains incredible good fortune that can help people gain enlightenment of the Tao. Many people have already gone inside, including some chosen who came from other planetary palaces. Bubbles explained. This was an area similar to the hidden area, both of which had appeared later on. It was just that the fortuitous encounters were different. Without any hesitation, the three of them flew toward the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain. The closer they got to the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain, the more they felt that the mountain was vast and boundless. Their bodies also became smaller and smaller. In fact, it was not that they had become smaller, but that the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain was too big. In the end, the three of them were like dust and planets compared to the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain. The 5 Elements Immortal Mountain was actually made up of 5 parts. There was a mountain for each color. The 5 mountains were side by side, forming a complete 5 Elements Immortal Mountain. Moreover, the first mountain to enter was the first mountain, the Flame Immortal Mountain. Only by passing through the Flame Immortal Mountain could one enter the next mountain. Only by passing through all 5 mountains could one reach the final place and obtain the 5 Elements Immortal tier. When the three of them were a certain distance away from the Flame Immortal Mountain, a strong suction force pulled Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles toward the Flame Immortal Mountain. The three of them followed the force and arrived at the surface of the Flame Immortal Mountain. They stopped on an open space. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Billowing heat waves swept toward them. It was incomparably hot and the temperature was shockingly high. The three of them had to circulate their chi to resist the heat waves. At that moment, a dazzling light suddenly emitted from the top of their heads. At the same time, a halo appeared. In the next moment, the halo condensed into a bracelet. There were 3 identical bracelets. Each of them had 1 bracelet on their head. There were 5 holes on the bracelets, corresponding to 5 different colors. Light red, light blue, light yellow, light gold, and light green. They corresponded to the 5 elements. As expected, Dandan said, this is a 5 elements bracelet. It can absorb the 5 elements soul energy. In the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain, every mountain has a 5 elements soul beast. Killing these 5 elements soul beasts will absorb the 5 elements soul beast's soul energy. The light red hole absorbs the 5 elements soul energy of the fire element. Only when it is full can one enter the next mountain. Moreover, after it is full, one can exchange it for a type of 5 elements immortal energy. This 5 elements immortal energy is incomparably mysterious. After absorbing it, one will have a great transformation. Bubbles explained. In the end, he even explained that this was all what Dandan had told him. It could be said that every mountain was equivalent to an opportunity because after each hole was full, one could exchange it for a strand of 5 elements immortal energy. Then, let's begin. Lu Ming said. He did not want to waste any time. His figure rose into the air, looked around, and began to search for the 5 elements soul beasts. Previously, this flaming mountain looked like a huge mountain from afar. After entering the flaming mountain, they realized that this place was no different from a world. As far as the eye could see, there were mountains, peaks, and valleys everywhere. Other than that, there was nothing to see. There were no plants or other creatures. The 3 of them randomly chose a direction and sped away. They spread out their spiritual senses to search for the 5 elements soul beasts. However, after searching for a long time, they did not find a single 5 elements soul beast. They continued to search. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. They still did not find a single 5 elements soul beast. This made the 3 of them frown. If they couldn't find the 5 elements soul beast, then the 5 elements soul energy in the bracelet wouldn't be enough and they wouldn't be able to enter the next 5 elements mountain. This way, they wouldn't be able to obtain the 5 elements immortal tiers and save Dandan and Ling Yue. What's going on? Bubbles, do you still remember what other clues Dandan mentioned? Lu Ming asked Bubbles. Yes, Dandan said that the 5 elements immortal mountain starts from the blazing immortal mountain, then the yellow earth immortal mountain, then the Greenwood Immortal Mountain. The 5 elements soul beasts of the 5 immortal mountains are getting stronger and more dangerous. However, it's not absolute. It's just an average level. Some of the 5 elements soul beasts of the blazing immortal mountain are also very powerful. Bubbles explained in detail what Dandan had told her about the 5 elements immortal mountain. Lu Ming listened carefully and analyzed. Chapter 4376. In that case, most of the ordinary soul beasts in this flaming immortal mountain have been hunted by others. Lu Ming frowned. The 5 elements immortal mountain had been open for 5 or 6 years. Many people had probably entered. The ordinary 5 elements soul beasts had most likely been hunted by those who came in early. Are there any powerful 5 elements soul beasts left? Qiu Yu asked. It's possible. The ordinary 5 elements soul beasts have been hunted, but there are very powerful 5 elements soul beasts in every mountain. They are extremely difficult to hunt. We might be able to find them. Bubbles said. Alright, then we'll look for hidden and dangerous places. Those powerful 5 elements soul beasts should be in those hidden and dangerous places. Lu Ming said. Then, they began to look for those dangerous and hidden places. Not long after, they found the 5 elements soul beasts. In a dangerous mountain stream, there was some fiery red liquid. This fiery red liquid emitted a scorching heat. There were a few strange beasts that looked like pythons, but their heads were lion heads and eagle claws on their abdomens. They were swimming in the fiery red liquid. At a glance, they saw 3 of them. These were the 5 elements soul beasts of the flaming immortal mountain. Roar! Upon seeing Lu Ming and the other 2, these 5 elements soul beasts roared like lions, shaking the mountains and rivers. Then, they twisted their bodies and soared into the air, pouncing towards Lu Ming and the other 2, spitting out scorching flames from their mouths. The flames burned fiercely, and the temperature was shockingly high. Let me. Bubbles pressed forward with her small hand, and the void distorted. The flames seemed to be frozen in the air. Roar! Realizing that the flames they spat out were frozen, these 5 elements soul beasts were abnormally furious. Their slender and huge bodies pounced towards Lu Ming and the other 2. The eagle claws on their abdomens continuously clawed out, grabbing the space-time power. The void rumbled and exploded continuously. Bubble space-time power actually felt like it was about to be torn apart. So strong. Lu Ming and the other 2 had the same thought in their hearts. These 3 5 elements soul beasts were shockingly strong. Their cultivation should be at the 9th level of the divine god realm, and their battle strength should be at 9 stars. Yes, this was equivalent to a peerless genius of the heavenly human tribe. Any one of these 5 elements soul beasts could contend with the current Lu Ming. No wonder the 3 5 elements soul beasts had yet to be killed. How many people would be able to kill such a powerful soul beast? Dared to hunt them? Even among the heavenly human tribe, there weren't many who could kill these 3 5 elements soul beasts, let alone other races in the primitive universe. However, it wasn't difficult for Lu Ming and the other 5 elements soul beasts. I'll suppress them. You guys kill. Bubble said, and an even stronger space-time power erupted. Space kept twisting and it was as though time was flowing backwards. This was because the space in the Grand Supreme Immortal City was too stable. It was extremely difficult to control it. If this was the great desolate universe, given Bubble's attainments in the power of space-time, it would create a terrifying scene. A powerful space-time force pressed down on the 3 5 elements soul beasts, causing their bodies to stiffen. Whoosh! Lu Ming and Xiao Moon turned into 2 bolts of lightning and attacked the 3 5 elements soul beasts. Qiao Yu's heart was filled with resplendent light. 8 different colors turned into a curved blade and slashed at the 2 5 elements soul beasts at the same time. Qiao Moon's battle strength had reached 10 stars, and her cultivation was at the 9th level of the divine god realm. Her battle strength was far above any of the 5 elements soul beasts. The machete slashed and the heads of the two five elements soul beasts flew high into the sky. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the sky-breaking form. He turned into a spear light and stabbed at the forehead of one of the five elements soul beasts. Pooh! The spear light was like a drill. It drilled into the head of the five elements soul beast and killed it. The five elements soul beast was very strong. Under normal circumstances, it could definitely fight with Lu Ming. Lu Ming's battle strength was at the peak of 12 stars. His overall battle strength was stronger than the other party. In addition, the five elements soul beast was suppressed by bubble spacetime. It was not strange that it was killed by Lu Ming in one move. After killing this soul beast, a wisp of crimson light rushed out of the soul beast's body and rushed into the light red hole on the bracelet on Lu Ming's hand. The color of the hole immediately darkened. On the other hand, after Qiu Yu killed the two soul beasts, two wisps of crimson light rushed into the bracelet on her back. The color of the hole on her bracelet had also deepened. It was even darker than Lu Ming's bracelet. Lu Ming understood that this was the soul energy of the five elements soul beasts. After absorbing this soul energy, the color of the hole would become darker. When it was filled, the light would be very bright. Now, it was not completely filled, but the color was slightly darker. Let's go. We will continue to look for the other five elements soul beasts. Lu Ming said. Since there were such powerful five elements soul beasts left, it was best. If even these powerful five elements soul beasts were killed, wouldn't they not be able to enter the next mountain? The three of them were about to leave. Suddenly, roar. In the mountain stream below, there was a sudden roar that shook the void and exploded. Then, the scarlet liquid in the mountain stream crazily rolled and formed water pillars that rushed towards Lu Ming and the other two. Be careful. Lu Ming shouted and used his body as a spear. In an instant, hundreds of spear lights burst out and bombarded the water pillars formed by the red liquid. But when the spear lights collided with the water pillars, the spear lights shook violently and then scattered. Lu Ming's body trembled and couldn't help but take a few steps back. The power of these water pillars was shocking. At this time, Bubble also made a move. With a press of both hands, the spacetime power erupted and formed layers of barriers in front of it. Boom boom boom. The water pillars continued to bombard the spacetime power, causing it to tremble non-stop. Roar. A terrifying roar rang out, and under the crimson liquid, a huge monster appeared. This monster looked exactly the same as the three five elements soul beasts from before. But its body was bigger. This was also a five elements soul beast, but it was stronger and gave off a more terrifying pressure. Roar. This five elements soul beast roared and rushed towards Lu Ming and the other two. 6 eagle talon-like sharp claws on its abdomen continuously clawed at the spacetime power. The spacetime power began to tremble as if it couldn't withstand it. In the end, Bubble brought out the two origin ancient characters, but it couldn't stabilize and was constantly torn apart. What terrifying combat power! Lu Ming's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. This five elements soul beast's cultivation was naturally at the 9th level of the divine god realm, but its combat power was terrifying. It should have 10 stars of combat power. Chapter 43-77. This five elements soul beast had astonishing combat strength. It definitely had a 10-star combat strength. And from the looks of it, it probably had the combat strength of a 10-star pinnacle combat strength. Roar. The five elements soul beast kept roaring with cold killing intent. Its huge body kept twisting and its sharp claws tore through the air. Bubble spacetime energy could not withstand it and was torn apart. At the same time, its body was wrapped in a layer of flame. This flame seemed to be able to burn everything, even the spacetime energy. It was extremely terrifying. The spacetime energy was the general name of the spacetime energy and the spacetime energy. It was mysterious and hard to understand. However, this flame was able to burn both spacetime and time. This showed how terrifying it was. This further proved that this 5 elements soul beast had the combat strength of a 10-star pinnacle combat strength. 8 orifices in 1, kill. Autumn Moon roared and the 9 orifices' sacred heart appeared in his chest. It beat violently like a drum. 9 rays of light turned into a scimitar and slashed towards the 5 elements soul beast's head. Roar. The 5 elements soul beast roared and clashed with the scimitar with its sharp claws. There was an earth-shattering explosion and the force swept out in all directions. The crimson liquid kept exploding. Great binding art, great entanglement art. Lu Ming also made his move. All kinds of ancient secret techniques were used to trap the enemy. They shrouded the 5 elements soul beast and tried to bind it. Lu Ming's strength was not as strong as the 5 elements soul beast. However, with the help of Bubble's spacetime energy, he could still cause some interference to the 5 elements soul beast. Under the double suppression of Lu Ming and Bubble, the 5 elements soul beast could not exert its full combat strength. Autumn Moon was able to suppress the 5 elements soul beast. Autumn Moon activated the 9 orifices' sacred heart and the scimitar slashed at the 5 elements soul beast's neck. In the end, the 5 elements soul beast was no match for the 3 of them. It was slashed by Autumn Moon over 100 times. Its neck was almost chopped off and its aura was weak. With Bubble's help, their strength had increased qualitatively. The spacetime energy was the king of support. It was not just for show. None of them were a match for the 5 elemental soul beast. However, the 3 of them had managed to suppress the 5 elemental soul beast without paying any price. Young master, you can kill this soul beast. Autumn Moon said to Lu Ming. Whoever killed the soul beast would be able to absorb its spiritual energy. Autumn Moon wanted to give this soul beast's spirit energy to Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded and did not stand on ceremony. Dandan said that he would put his life in Lu Ming's hands. Obviously, he believed that Lu Ming was the most likely person to reach the end of the 5 elements Immortal Mountain. What if they didn't have enough soul energy on the blazing Immortal Mountain? Wouldn't that mean that they wouldn't be able to enter the second 5 elements Immortal Mountain? Therefore, the best arrangement was to let Lu Ming, who was the last to reach the finish line, absorb the soul energy first. Lu Ming used the sky splitter style and turned into a spear light that stabbed towards the 5 elemental soul beast's head. The 5 elemental soul beast's aura was already weak and weak. It couldn't withstand Lu Ming's attack and was killed directly. A wisp of vigorous soul energy flew out and was absorbed by Lu Ming's bracelet. The hole on the bracelet was even darker and the red light was extremely dense. If this continued, Lu Ming felt that it wouldn't take much soul energy to fill it up. The main reason was that the 5 elemental soul beast was too strong. The stronger the 5 elemental soul beast, the denser the soul energy it contained. They didn't need to kill too many to gather enough soul energy. Let's continue to look for soul beasts, Lu Ming said. This time, no soul beasts rushed out of the mountain stream. After they left, they continued to look for dangerous forces. Sure enough, after half a day, they found a few more soul beasts. These soul beasts looked more peculiar than the ones they had encountered before, and their strength was also very shocking. These soul beasts were all at the 9th layer of the divine god realm and 9 stars of battle strength. Although this kind of battle strength was very strong, they were easily killed by the 3 of them. This time, the soul energy was absorbed by Lu Ming again. After absorbing the soul energy, the hole on Lu Ming's bracelet was finally filled. It emitted a dazzling light like a resplendent ruby. Of course, they didn't stop. They continued to look for soul beasts to kill. Lu Ming wanted to fill up Autumn Moon and Bubble's bracelets too. On one hand, after filling up the bracelets, they would obtain a great opportunity. On the other hand, the more people there were, the higher their chances of success. The 3 of them continued to search. Fortunately, there were still some powerful soul beasts left in those remote and dangerous places. The 3 of them spent more than 10 days and finally succeeded. Their bracelets were all filled. At this time, the three of them went to the next immortal mountain. The next immortal mountain was the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain. The two immortal mountains were connected by a suspension bridge. If they wanted to go to the next immortal mountain, they had to cross the suspension bridge. They couldn't fly over it. When the three of them reached the end of the bridge, their bracelets automatically flew out of the ruby-like hole on their bracelets. A strand of red energy flew out and spun in the air. It then turned into a strange energy and flew into Lu Ming's, Autumn Moon's, and Bubble's foreheads and disappeared. Lu Ming immediately felt that he had entered a state of emptiness. It was as if every pore on his body had opened up. His body and mind were extremely relaxed. At the same time, his understanding of the secret techniques increased at an astonishing speed. As long as Lu Ming focused on a certain secret technique, that secret technique would improve rapidly. In a short time, a secret technique that he had just learned had reached the great success level. Is this the 5 elements immortal energy? It's really mysterious. Lu Ming didn't waste any more time. He focused and started to comprehend the secret technique. A day later, the strand of 5 elements immortal energy completely disappeared. It had been used up. On the other hand, Lu Ming had cultivated at least 5,000 ordinary secret techniques to the great success level. Although the 5,000 secret techniques were only ordinary secret techniques, it still improved Lu Ming's forbidden force slightly. Lu Ming had a feeling that his strength had reached the 12-star level. He was not far away from a breakthrough. This is only one immortal mountain. If every immortal mountain has such benefits, it won't be a problem for my strength to reach the 13-star level. Lu Ming smiled. He then looked at Autumn Moon and Bubbles. Both of them were wearing smiles too. It was obvious that they had benefited a lot. Let's head to the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain, Lu Ming said. The three stepped onto the suspension bridge and soon arrived at the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain. The Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain was different from the fiery Immortal Mountain. It was covered in yellow soil and desert. The three of them repeated the same trick and began to search for the 5 element spirit beasts. Chapter 4378. The three of them planned to continue searching for 5 element soul beasts in desolate and dangerous places. But this time, they didn't fly very far before they were attacked. The ground exploded and several huge worms rushed out of the ground and attacked Lu Ming's group. They're only at the 6th Emperor Supreme God layer. Lu Ming's heart shook. Before he could do anything, Bubbles waved his hand and used a spatial slicing technique to kill the worms. After the worms were killed, a wisp of soul energy flew out and entered the light yellow hole on Bubbles' bracelet, causing the light yellow hole's color to darken a little. It seems like there are many ordinary soul beasts in this Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain, said Lu Ming. Every immortal mountain had 5 elements soul beasts with ordinary strength and 5 elements soul beasts with strong strength. In the blazing immortal mountain, the ordinary 5 elements soul beasts had been killed. Only the strong 5 elements soul beasts were left. But in this Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain, there were still many ordinary 5 elements soul beasts. According to the information left behind by Dandan, the 5 elements soul beasts in the 5 elements Immortal Mountain were stronger than the previous one. In the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain, the ordinary soul beasts were stronger and more numerous. That was why some of them hadn't been killed. This was good news for the three of them. At least, it would be easier for the three of them to gather soul energy. They were afraid that the 5 elements soul beasts would have been killed by the people who had come in before. As long as there were some left, it was fine. Then, the three of them flew while using their spiritual awareness to search. After searching for half an hour, they found a few ordinary 5 elements soul beasts. Although there were still ordinary 5 elements soul beasts in the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain, there weren't many of them. It was a bit better than the blazing Immortal Mountain. If weaker people had come in, they would have been able to find 5 elements soul beasts to kill. The three of them discussed for a while and decided to continue searching for more desolate and dangerous places to find stronger 5 elements soul beasts. It would be more efficient that way. Half a day later, they arrived at a golden desert. There, they were surrounded by a few extremely strong soul beasts. There were 6 gigantic crabs in total. They were terrifying. They all had the strength of the 9th great supreme god layer. 3 of them had the strength of 9 stars, and the other 3 had the strength of 10 stars. As soon as they began fighting, the 3 of them fell into a disadvantageous position. In the end, they relied on the profundity of space-time power to surround and kill off one of them before focusing on the next one. Just like that, they split up and killed all 6 of the 5-element spiritual beasts. This was something only they could do. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't have been able to do it if they were besieged by 6 powerful soul beasts. Only by relying on the mysteries of space-time could he achieve this. After killing the 6 soul beasts, they continued their search. Just like that, over 10 days passed. The 3 of them had gathered enough soul power and were heading towards the next immortal mountain. Each mountain was connected by a suspension bridge. Similarly, when they were at the end of the bridge, the soul energy they gathered turned into 5 elements immortal energy and rushed into their glabella. The effect was exactly the same as the previous one. Lu Ming seized the time to comprehend secret techniques. When the strand of 5 elements immortal energy was used up, Lu Ming's 5,000 ordinary secret techniques had reached the great success level. His taboo power had improved once again. After this increase, Lu Ming felt that his fighting strength had finally reached a qualitative change. 13 stars of fighting strength. Indeed, even though he hadn't tested it yet, Lu Ming was sure that his fighting strength had reached 13 stars. How many great supreme gods had 13 stars of fighting strength in the world? Or perhaps, how many had existed since ancient times? Lu Ming looked confident. As long as he broke through to the 9th great supreme god layer, he would be invincible in the world. 9th great supreme god layer, I must reach that level. Only then will I be able to obtain the greatest benefits in the battle for the origin seeds. Lu Ming thought. As he was thinking, he was startled by Autumn Moon and Bubbles. The 9 orifices sacred heart on Autumn Moon's chest was beating continuously. It was filled with vigorous vitality. 8 of the acupuncture points were filled with terrifying aura. They had 8 different colors and were extremely dazzling. It was as if 8 extremely dazzling divine stones were embedded in them. Moreover, the 9th acupuncture point was also filled with divine light. It was as if some terrifying energy was about to burst out. Lu Ming knew that Autumn Moon's 9 orifices sacred heart was about to reach the great success level. The 9 acupuncture points of the 9 orifices sacred heart contained boundless potential. Every time an acupuncture point was opened, one's potential and strength would increase tremendously. Previously, Autumn Moon had relied on a series of opportunities to open 8 acupuncture points. However, the further he progressed, the harder it was to open them. Autumn Moon hadn't been able to open the 9th acupuncture point. However, with the help of the 5 elements immortal energy, the 9th acupuncture point was about to be opened. Thump. 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 The 9 orifices sacred heart beat violently a few times before it finally quieted down. Unfortunately, she still didn't succeed. However, there was still a smile on Autumn Moon's face. She knew very well that she was so close. As long as she could obtain a wisp of 5 elements immortal energy, she would definitely succeed. On the other side, Bubble had also made great gains. Space-time energy fluctuated around her, making her body appear very blurry. It was as if she wasn't in this space-time, but on the other side of space-time, on the other side of space-time. She took a step forward and her body became clear again. It was as if she had reappeared in this space-time. Let's continue to the next immortal mountain. The 3 of them stepped forward and soon arrived at the 3rd immortal mountain, the Greenwood Immortal Mountain. This immortal mountain was called the Greenwood Immortal Mountain. It really lived up to its name. There were lush trees everywhere. There were also all kinds of vines and flowers. It looked like a paradise full of vitality. However, Lu Ming and the others were soon attacked. Several vines that were thicker than a person's waist and had barbs on them crazily whipped at them. Those were the 5 elements spirit beasts of the Greenwood Immortal Mountain. They existed in the form of plants. However, those 5 elements spirit beasts weren't too strong. They only had the strength of the 7th great supreme god layer. Lu Ming and the others easily killed them and absorbed their soul energy. After that, the 3 of them continued to look for 5 elements spirit beasts. After some investigation, they discovered that there were many more 5 elements spirit beasts in the Greenwood Immortal Mountain than in the Yellow Earth Immortal Mountain. Not long after they arrived, they encountered a few waves of 5 elements spirit beasts. Most of them were of the 7th or 8th great supreme god layer. There were many of them. They disguised themselves as ordinary plants and attacked suddenly. It was very dangerous. Those who weren't strong would be in more danger here than in the previous 2 immortal mountains. Of course, no matter how many 7 elements spirit beasts there were, they couldn't cause any harm to Lu Ming and the others. The 3 of them hunted the ordinary spirit beasts while looking for the stronger ones. Chapter 43-79. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and the other 2 had stayed in the Greenwood Celestial Mountain for 5 days. Bubble was the fastest among them. She had already gathered all the soul energy of the 5 elements soul beasts on her bracelet. In these 5 days, they had seen how dangerous the Greenwood Celestial Mountain was. Once, they were amidst a sea of flowers and suffered a terrifying attack. A group of beautiful flowers suddenly turned into terrifying killers with terrifying strength. There were more than a dozen flowers, and their cultivation was at the 9th level of the Divine Emperor realm. Remember, above. Among them, there were 5 flowers with a 10-star battle strength, and one of them had an 11-star battle strength. Even if Lu Ming and the other 2 joined forces, they were still no match for the flowers. After a fierce battle, they barely escaped with the help of Bubble's spacetime power. This made the 3 of them more vigilant. Although there were no divine masters in the 5 elements Celestial Mountain, there were still divine emperors who could threaten them. This was only the 3rd Celestial Mountain, and there were already 11-star battle strength. There were still 2 more Celestial Mountains. Would there be 12-star battle strength or even higher? The 3 of them secretly decided to be extra careful when they looked for the 5 elements soul beasts in the dangerous places. There are a few 5 elements soul beasts. Bubble pointed at a forest in front of them. She controlled the spacetime power and her sensing ability was very strong. Even if the soul beasts were disguised as ordinary plants and didn't move, she could still sense them. The 2 of them immediately rushed over. Suddenly, a few figures rushed out from below and stopped the 3 of them. Heavenly Human Tribe. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Those figures were from the Heavenly Human Tribe. They stared at Lu Ming. It's Mu Yun. Mu Yun is here? Very good. Apparently, those Heavenly Human Tribe members recognized Lu Ming. They stared at Lu Ming with cold murderous intent. Very good, Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with the other party. He directly charged over. He grabbed the air with his palm and a long spear appeared. Suddenly, the spear gleam flashed and shrouded a few Heavenly Human experts. Those cultivators of the Heavenly Human Tribe were all in their prime. They weren't weak. They all had the strength of the 9th great supreme god layer and 6 stars. But this strength was simply not enough to look at in front of Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming made his move, a few strong men of the celestial race roared angrily and counterattacked. However, their attacks and defenses were instantly penetrated by the spear radiance. Several holes were left on their bodies, and their vitality had already been obliterated. Their eyes were wide open. Even in death, they couldn't believe that with their strength, they would be instantly killed by Lu Ming. Before entering the Taishang Immortal City, didn't they say he was only a deity emperor? He had improved so much after entering the Grand Supreme Immortal City. However, their questions were destined to remain unanswered. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the storage rings of the heavenly humans. At this moment, swoosh, swoosh, in the distant forest, a few silhouettes suddenly rushed out and ran madly into the distance. These people weren't from the heavenly human tribe. They were from other races, including the Buddhist race and the demon race. Obviously, these people were frightened when they saw Lu Ming kill a few heavenly human tribe experts in the distant forest. They hurriedly ran for their lives. Lu Ming's eyes flickered a few times. In the end, he didn't chase after them. They weren't from the heavenly human tribe and they didn't take the initiative to provoke him. There was no need to kill those who saw him. Moreover, as he became stronger and stronger, he became more confident. In addition, with Bubble and Autumn Moon, it didn't matter even if they were discovered. This was just a small episode. The three of them weren't affected and continued to look for the 5 elements soul beasts. Soon, another 3 days passed. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon's bracelets were almost filled with the soul energy of the 5 elements soul beasts. There's someone there. Suddenly, Bubble pointed in a direction. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon couldn't help but look over. Sure enough, in the next moment, they saw a figure rushing over quickly. That's Yi Ling. Lu Ming's eyes widened and his heart skipped a beat. Why would Yi Ling suddenly appear here? At the same time, they discovered that Yi Ling was injured. There were several hideous wounds on his body. Could it be that the heavenly human tribe had launched a siege and destroyed the 4 trees? Lu Ming released his spiritual consciousness and found that Yi Ling was real. This could be seen from his life aura. He wasn't an imposter. Soon, Yi Ling appeared in front of them. Brother Mu, I've finally found you. As Yi Ling spoke, he panted heavily. A strange look flashed in the depths of Lu Ming's eyes, but he quickly hid it. Brother Yi, why are you here? What happened? The heavenly human tribe, it's the heavenly human tribe. Our Earth meridian was breached by the heavenly human tribe. The heavenly human tribe set up the 9 heavens battle formation and broke through the siege of the 4 trees. Even the elixir furnaces fell into the hands of the heavenly human tribe. I escaped by luck and rushed here to inform you. Brother Mu, I've let you down. Yi Ling sighed, looking miserable and self-reproachful. What? The elixir furnaces have been taken away? Damn the heavenly human tribe. Autumn Moon and Bubble gritted their teeth and cursed angrily, their faces full of resentment. Lu Ming's face also turned pale. Brother Mu, I'm sorry. Yi Ling lowered his head, looking even more self-reproachful. Brother Yi, don't blame yourself. This isn't your fault. Lu Ming walked over and patted Yi Ling on the shoulder. At this moment, something strange happened. Yi Ling opened his mouth and a beam of sword light burst out from his mouth. This beam of sword light was extremely sharp. The sword chi's cold light pierced through the clouds and was extremely terrifying. It stabbed toward Lu Ming's glabella at an astonishing speed. This was too sudden. Autumn Moon and Bubble were shocked. They wanted to save Yi Ling, but it was too late. Even if Lu Ming wanted to dodge at such a close distance, it was too late. Yi Ling's grasp of timing was too accurate. However, just as the beam of sword light was 1 centimeter away from Lu Ming's glabella, a hand suddenly appeared and grabbed the beam of sword light. The hand was naturally Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming's palm was filled with forbidden power. After grabbing the beam of sword light could not move an inch further and could not move. Yi Ling's eyes widened, revealing a look of disbelief. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to block his violent attack at such a close distance. Boom! Lu Ming suddenly exerted force and a violent force erupted. The beam of sword light in his hand instantly collapsed. At the same time, a terrifying force crushed toward Yi Ling. Yi Ling roared angrily. More beams of sword light burst out from his body, trying to block Lu Ming's attack. However, he could not block it in the end. Under Lu Ming's power, the beams of sword light on his body continued to explode. After being hit by Lu Ming's power, his body shook violently and he retreated violently, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. You only have 8-star combat strength. As expected, you're not Yiling at all. Who exactly are you? Lu Ming stared coldly at Yiling. Chapter 4380. Although Yiling's cultivation was also at the 9th level of the Emperor God realm, his combat strength was only at 8 stars. The Yiling that Lu Ming knew had combat strength at the limit of 9 stars. He was much stronger than the one in front of him. Why? How could you block me at such a close distance? Unless you were on guard against me? Yiling stared at Lu Ming. That's right. I was on guard against you because I already suspected that you weren't Yiling. Lu Ming said coldly. He's not Yiling? Why is his life origin aura the same as Yiling's? Autumn Moon asked, her face full of confusion. That's right. It's really the same person. Could it be that Yiling is being controlled? Bubbles said, equally confused. I'm Yiling. I'm sorry, Brother Mu. I was just testing your strength. I didn't have any other intentions, Yiling hurriedly said. Stop quibbling. Although I don't know what method you used to disguise yourself as Yiling, even your life origin aura is the same. You're not Yiling. Yiling wouldn't call me Brother Mu, Lu Ming said coldly. Brother Mu, no, Mu Yun. No matter what you call me, it's the same. Do you still have doubts about this? Yiling continued to quibble. This time, Autumn Moon and Bubbles seemed to have understood and stared coldly at Yiling. Yiling's face turned slightly pale, revealing a hint of panic and confusion. He still didn't know what he had done wrong. Let me tell you. My real identity is not Mu Yun. I am Lu Ming. Lu Ming stared at Yiling and enunciated each word clearly. What? You're Lu Ming, the Lu Ming from the Dragon Clan's mother planet? Yiling exclaimed, his face full of disbelief. Now do you know where you're wrong? The real Yiling knows my real identity. He will only call me Brother Lu, not Brother Mu. Do you understand? Lu Ming said coldly. Step by step, he walked toward the fake Yiling. I'd really like to know how you managed to change your life origin aura into Yiling's. Lu Ming continued to ask. You want me to tell you? Sure, but only if you promise to let me go. Swear on your life essence. Fake Yiling shouted. Now, you don't have the right to negotiate with me. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His taboo power erupted as he rushed towards the other party. Fake Yiling's figure flashed as he tried to escape. However, Bubble made a move as well. The spacetime around him seemed to have solidified. Fake Yiling couldn't escape no matter how hard he tried. Boom! Lu Ming collapsed. The mountain-like hand rapidly grew in size and pressed down on the fake Yiling. No matter how much the fake Yiling resisted, it was useless. Under the pressure of the large hand, the fake Yiling coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. His body trembled as he knelt on the ground. Many of his bones were broken. Speak, who are you? What method did you use to change your life origin aura? Lu Ming said coldly. The murderous intent in his eyes was extremely dense. It was as cold as a blade, cutting into the fake Yiling's skin. Fake Yiling felt a chill all over his body. It was as if he was facing the Grim Reaper, who was holding a knife to his neck. He had no doubt that if he didn't speak, Lu Ming would kill him in the next moment. He wouldn't be given any chance. I'll speak. I'm Yang Kai. As he spoke, the fake Yiling's appearance quickly changed into a horse-faced young man. At the same time, the life origin aura he emitted also changed rapidly. It was no longer his life origin aura but another unfamiliar aura. This method was simply mysterious and unpredictable. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubble were a little stunned. It was easy to change one's appearance. However, it was almost impossible to change one's life origin aura. Once someone remembered the life origin aura, it was almost impossible to hide it. Lu Ming had once used the 3 corpses technique to sever his past and present. He had severed a brand new body, which had given him a brand new life origin aura. However, this person could change his life origin aura at will and imitate the life origin aura of others. That was amazing. Yang Kai, the Yang Kai who is ranked 19th on the Universe Prodigy list? Lu Ming said. Lu Ming clearly remembered that there was also a Yang Kai on the Universe Prodigy list who was good at swordsmanship and ranked 19th. That's right, it's me. Yang Kai nodded. I'm very curious. What secret technique did you cultivate to be able to change your life origin aura? Lu Ming asked. He was indeed very curious about this. If he could master this secret technique, it would be much more convenient for him to do things in the future. Moreover, it would be difficult for the Heavenly Palace to track him down. To be honest, what I cultivate is one of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques, the Great Imitation Technique. It is ever-changing and can imitate everything I see and sense, including the life origin aura of others. Yang Kai said. It's the Great Imitation Technique. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He had naturally heard of the Great Imitation Technique. It was said that among the 3,000 ancient secret techniques, the Great Imitation Technique was ranked in the top 3. It was extremely mysterious and had endless changes. He had always wanted to find this ancient secret technique, but he had never found it. There was none in the great ancient world, and there was none in the Heavenly Palace. He did not expect Yang Kai to master the Great Imitation Technique. He had imitated Yi Ling's appearance just now. Obviously, he wanted to take Lu Ming by surprise and assassinate him to obtain great credit. I'll give you a chance. Hand over the Great Imitation Technique. Lu Ming said. Yang Kai was not surprised. He knew that after mentioning the Great Imitation Technique, Lu Ming would definitely want it. If you want me to hand over the Great Imitation Technique, you have to promise to let me go and not kill me. You have to swear on your life origin. Yang Kai said. He had mentioned the Great Imitation Technique because he wanted to use it to exchange for his life. Otherwise, Lu Ming and the others would definitely not let him go. To Yang Kai's surprise, Lu Ming nodded decisively. Okay, but if you dare to lie to me, or if there are any mistakes in the Great Imitation Technique that you hand over, I will still kill you. You have to know that I have mastered a large number of ancient secret techniques. I can tell whether it's real or fake at a glance. After saying that, Lu Ming waved his hand. A large number of secret techniques appeared in the sky, emitting various shapes and colors. There were thousands of them. Yang Kai was dumbfounded. He had never imagined that there would be someone in this world who could master so many ancient secret techniques. He had originally thought of tampering with the Great Imitation Technique when he handed it over. Now, he had completely dispelled this idea. Lu Ming had mastered so many ancient secret techniques. He was simply an expert among experts in ancient secret techniques. If he dared to tamper with the Great Imitation Technique, he would be showing off his slight skill before an expert. He would be courting death. After warning Yang Kai, Lu Ming swore on his life origin that as long as Yang Kai handed over the Great Imitation Technique, he would not kill him. Lu Ming nodded. Autumn Moon and Bubbles naturally would not refuse. They immediately swore on their life origin. Chapter 4381. After seeing Lu Ming and the others swear, Yang Kai finally felt relieved. Then, he silently recited the cultivation method of the Great Imitation Skill. Lu Ming and the others silently memorized the cultivation method of the Great Imitation Skill. At the same time, Lu Ming also analyzed word by word to see if Yang Kai had tampered with the cultivation method. In the end, Lu Ming confirmed that this was the real Great Imitation Skill and there were no abnormalities. Lu Ming had mastered close to 1,800 types of ancient mystic skills. His understanding of ancient mystic skills had already reached an astonishing level. Moreover, he had the ancient divine stone in his hands. Whether an ancient secret skill was real or fake, or whether there were flaws, he could tell at a glance. The Great Imitation Skill is in my hands. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Autumn Moon and Bubbles were also overjoyed. Although the great imitation skill did not have much offensive power, it was extremely useful. It was more useful than many secret skills with powerful offensive power. For example, just now, if Yang Kai had not revealed a flaw in his words, Lu Ming would never have thought that Yang Kai would attack him. Therefore, he would not have been able to avoid the other party's sneak attack. In that case, even if Lu Ming did not die, he would be severely injured. This was Lu Ming. If it were anyone else, the outcome would be obvious. No assassination technique could compare to the great imitation skill. I've already told you the cultivation method of the great imitation skill. Can I leave now? Yang Kai looked at Lu Ming and the others and said. Oh. Lu Ming responded softly and suddenly made a move. He slapped Yang Kai's dantian and a violent force rushed directly into Yang Kai's dantian, smashing it into pieces. His cultivation had been crippled. Yang Kai's pupils instantly popped out as he stared at Lu Ming. His eyes were full of unwillingness, resentment, and confusion. Lu Ming, you've already sworn on life origin. How dare you kill me? Aren't you afraid of being devoured by life origin? Yang Kai roared. I'm afraid. Of course, I'm afraid. However, I didn't say that I was going to kill you. I'm just going to cripple your cultivation and control you. Who said that I was going to kill you? Lu Ming said coldly and nodded to Bubbles. Bubble took the hint and waved her small hands at a strange frequency. The power of space-time burst out and enveloped Yang Kai in layers. Yang Kai's body began to twist and his body strangely became thin. Bubbles wanted to use the space-time power to seal Yang Kai. Ah, Lu Ming, you didn't keep your word. You will die a horrible death, Yang Kai shouted crazily. However, Lu Ming did not move. He could not just let him leave. Linz's heavens. SSSSSS the great imitation skill, Linz's Yang's. The main reason was that Yang Kai had mastered the great imitation skill. This ancient secret technique was too terrifying. Letting him leave would be very dangerous. If Yang Kai taught the great imitation skill to others, it would be even more dangerous. It would be a ticking time bomb. Therefore, Lu Ming wanted to control him. If possible, Lu Ming really wanted to kill Yang Kai and end this once and for all. However, Lu Ming had indeed sworn on life origin that he would not kill Yang Kai. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he did not have the ability to resist the devouring of life origin. Only origin realm experts who had mastered life origin could be fearless of the devouring of life origin. Therefore, Lu Ming did not kill Yang Kai. He only crippled his cultivation. This was not a violation of the oath. Soon, Yang Kai was turned into a thin piece of paper under the effect of the space-time power. Then, he was sucked into a disk array and sealed inside. Done. Bubbles put away the formation disk and said with a smile. This was just a small interlude. It did not affect Lu Ming's plan. After that, the three of them continued to hunt the 5 elemental soul beasts. A few days later, the 5 elemental soul energy in their bracelets was finally gathered. The three of them wanted to go to the 4th immortal mountain. In front of the suspension bridge between the 2 immortal mountains, the 5 elemental soul energy turned into a wisp of 5 elemental immortal energy. Lu Ming still used it to cultivate ordinary secret techniques. Another 5,000 secret techniques had reached greater mastery. Lu Ming's battle prowess had increased a little. Of course, it was impossible for his battle prowess to reach 14 stars. The difference was too great. Now, Lu Ming still had more than 5,000 ordinary secret techniques that he had yet to reach greater mastery. On the other side, Autumn Moon had finally broken through. In her chest, the sacred heart of 9 orifices was beating violently. A terrifying aura burst out of the 9th aperture. Finally, a bright light rushed out of the 9th aperture of the sacred heart of 9 orifices, causing the entire sacred heart of 9 orifices to shine. Finally, Autumn Moon had opened all 9 apertures of the sacred heart of 9 orifices, and her battle prowess had skyrocketed. Lu Ming estimated that Autumn Moon's current battle prowess should have reached 11 stars. When the Sacred Heart of 9 Orifices was fully opened and reached greater mastery, the increase in battle prowess would be very shocking. It would not be difficult to increase her battle prowess from 10 stars to 11 stars. Bubbles had also gained a lot. However, Lu Ming could not estimate how much her battle prowess had increased. The power of time and space was mysterious and difficult to estimate. This 5 elements Immortal Mountain was really a great opportunity. Not to mention anything else, just the increase in their battle prowess was already a great gain. After the 5 elements Immortal energy was used up, the 3 of them continued to move forward and arrived at the 4th Immortal Mountain. The 4th Immortal Mountain had more 5 elemental soul beasts than the 3rd. Of course, they were stronger and more dangerous. From time to time, terrifying 5 elemental soul beasts would appear. There was even one time when the 3 of them encountered a group of 11-star 5 elemental soul beasts. Remember, it was not just one soul beast, but a group. Even if the 3 of them became stronger, they were still no match for a group of 11-star 5 elemental soul beasts whose cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Emperor God realm. They could only run away. Just like that, the 3 of them spent some time and successfully collected the soul energy of the soul beasts, obtaining a wisp of 5 elemental immortal energy. This time, Lu Ming finally cultivated the remaining 5,000 or so ordinary secret techniques to greater mastery. Autumn Moon used this wisp of 5 elemental immortal energy to continue developing the Sacred Heart of 9 Orifices. The potential of the Sacred Heart of 9 Orifices was fully developed. As for Bubbles, she naturally continued to improve her power of time and space. Then, they entered the 5th Immortal Mountain. The 5th Immortal Mountain was full of soul beasts and was even more dangerous. However, with their strength and their respective life-saving methods, it was not difficult to hunt soul beasts. This time, it did not take them 10 days to collect all the soul energy of the 5 elemental soul beasts. Brother Lu Ming, this time, I plan to use the 5 elemental immortal energy to cultivate the great imitation art. What about you? Bubbles asked Lu Ming. Good idea, I plan to do the same. Lu Ming nodded. The great imitation art was very useful and ranked in the top 3 among all the ancient secret techniques. The difficulty of cultivating it was absolutely shocking. Chapter 4382. With Lu Ming's understanding of ancient secret techniques, the difficulty of cultivating the great imitation technique was absolutely astonishing. If they cultivated it step by step outside, who knew how much time it would take? If they could use a wisp of 5 elements immortal energy to cultivate it to greater mastery, it would be completely worth it. In the end, the 3 of them unanimously decided to use this wisp of 5 elements immortal energy to cultivate the great imitation technique. The effect of 5 elements immortal energy was indeed very astonishing. The 3 of them used the 5 elements immortal energy and quickly mastered the great imitation technique, cultivating it to the beginner level. Then, it was lesser mastery. Then, it was greater mastery. Yes, after using a wisp of 5 elements immortal energy, they directly cultivated the great imitation technique to greater mastery. However, after cultivating the great imitation technique to greater mastery, a wisp of 5 elements immortal energy was already used up. However, the 3 of them were already very satisfied. The 3 of them were just about to try the mystery of the great imitation technique when suddenly, a force acted on their bodies. Under this force, their bodies directly disappeared from the spot. The next moment, they appeared in a new place. Is this a valley? Lu Ming looked around. He found that they were in a valley with high cliffs on both sides. The valley was very wide, at least tens of thousands of miles wide. In front of them, there was a golden wall of light blocking their path. And behind them, it was chaos and there was no path. Under the golden wall of light in front of them, there were many people standing. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd and saw at least 20 people. Among the 20 people, most of them were from the heavenly human race. In addition, there were a few powerhouses from the top 10 races. They are existences on the universe prodigy list. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There were a few youths among them. Lu Ming had seen portraits of them in the illusory divine jade before. They were existences on the universe prodigy list, and they were all ranked in the top 20. They were definitely not comparable to Gabbert. Those who could reach here were definitely not weak. The arrival of Lu Ming and the other two was also noticed by the others. Then, their gazes revealed a bright glow. Obviously, they recognized Lu Ming. Mu Yun. It's Mu Yun. The people of the heavenly human tribe cried out in alarm. The greed in their eyes was extremely intense. Even those on the universe genius list looked greedy. Kill. A few of them reacted quickly and directly attacked. They turned into several streaks of rainbow light and attacked Lu Ming. Just as Autumn Moon and Bubbles were about to attack, Lu Ming stopped them. There's no need for you to deal with these clowns. I'll deal with them. Lu Ming spoke. Before he could finish his words, he had already charged out. Boom! Boom! Forbidden power erupted, and the battle's secret art sevenfold combat power was activated. The dazzling fist energy carried a destructive power as it blasted out and collided with the attacks of the experts. After a series of explosions, the attacks of those experts collapsed. Their bodies trembled violently as they retreated. There were even some who spat out large mouthfuls of blood, their faces pale, suffering serious injuries. You! How could you possibly have such strength? These people all cried out in surprise, finding it hard to believe. There was no doubt that those who could reach this place were all at the 9th level of the Great Supreme God realm. That was the foundation, and their combat power was extremely strong. There were 4 people who had attacked just now. 2 of them had 8-star combat power, and the other 2 had 9-star combat power. The 4 of them had joined forces, but they had been instantly defeated by Lu Ming. 2 of them had even been injured. And Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 8th level of the Great Supreme God realm. What kind of combat power was that? It was simply unbelievable. However, Lu Ming's display of combat power didn't stop these people from wanting to kill Lu Ming. They were just shocked for a moment, then they all attacked. More than 20 people at the scene almost all attacked. Except for one person who didn't attack. More than 20 figures charged towards Lu Ming together, bringing with them terrifying energy waves. These people had at least 8-star combat power. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to reach this place. In addition, many of them had 9-star combat power. There were even 3 geniuses of the heavenly human tribe who had 10-star combat power. Facing so many experts, it was difficult for Lu Ming to face them head-on. However, Lu Ming wouldn't face them head-on. He used his movement skill. His body seemed to have turned into several spear lights, flashing in the air. After a few flashes, he dodged these people's attacks. Lu Ming now had a 13-star combat power, which was equivalent to his opponent's 10-star combat power. In a one-on-one battle, he wasn't afraid of any of them. However, there were so many of them. He couldn't fight them head-on, but if he focused on dodging, they wouldn't be able to kill him. After the first wave of attacks, the second wave of attacks was launched. Lu Ming continued to use his movement skill. Spear lights flashed in the air, dodging these people's attacks one by one. Damn it, don't dodge if you dare. Fight me. If we fight head-on, I'll kill you in one move. The geniuses of the heavenly human tribe shouted. You have so many people, and you still have the cheek to say that. If you're so capable, fight me one-on-one. Lu Ming sneered. Okay, one-on-one. Get out of the way. Let me deal with him. A heavenly human tribe genius shouted. This heavenly human tribe genius had a 10-star combat power and was one of the top geniuses of the heavenly human tribe. He was only weaker than Son of Heaven or Daughter of Heaven. He was confident that he could kill Lu Ming alone. However, the others weren't willing to do so. I can deal with him too. Get out of the way. It was another heavenly human tribe genius who also had a 10-star combat power. Among the top geniuses, the confident ones didn't want to get out of the way. The others also didn't want to get out of the way. They wanted to fish in troubled waters. Maybe they could kill Lu Ming in the chaos. That would be a great contribution. On the heavenly human tribe side, there were a few geniuses on the universe prodigy list. They all wanted to kill Lu Ming, so their attacks were chaotic and couldn't form an effective encirclement attack. This way, Lu Ming could dodge more easily. All of you, back off. Leave it to me. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. The voice was full of arrogance. The moment they heard this voice, all the prideful geniuses felt their hearts skip a beat. They couldn't help but stop in their tracks as they turned around to look. There was a heavenly human tribe youth standing there quietly. He was the only one who hadn't made a move. Everyone's eyes were filled with awe as they looked at this person. Do you want me to say it again? All of you, get out of the way. I'll deal with him. The heavenly human tribe youth spoke again. There was a hint of displeasure in his voice. The others' hearts skipped a beat. They didn't dare to disobey and stepped back. Does Son of Heaven want to deal with him personally? One of the heavenly human tribe geniuses asked with a hint of respect in his voice. That's right. This heavenly human tribe genius who hadn't made a move yet was one of the 9 sons of heaven and daughter of heaven of the 4 heavenly palace. His name was Yichu Qianyue. Chapter 4383. This time, there were a total of 4 heavenly palaces. These 4 heavenly palaces only had a total of 9 sons of heaven or daughters of heaven. Sons of heaven or daughters of heaven represented the peak of the younger generation of the heavenly human tribe. Not only were they talented and powerful, but they also represented their status. The status of sons of heaven or daughters of heaven was very high in the heavenly human tribe. They were almost comparable to the Lord of Heaven. Therefore, countless people racked their brains to become sons of heaven or daughters of heaven. That status and the resources they controlled were too terrifying. Yichu Qianyue approached Lu Ming step by step. The aura on his body was getting stronger and stronger. Lu Ming also stopped and looked at Yichu Qianyue. His eyes were filled with strong combat power. Son of Heaven was one of the strongest people in the younger generation of the primitive universe. Lu Ming wanted to know how powerful a Son of Heaven's combat ability was. Young master, I feel that this person is very strong. I'm afraid you're no match for him. Autumn Moon came to Lu Ming's side and quietly transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Does he have a combat power of 11 stars? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Autumn Moon. I think so. I feel a strong pressure. Autumn Moon nodded in response. Lu Ming knew that Autumn Moon should feel the same. Autumn Moon's 9 apertures sacred heart had been fully opened, and her combat power had reached 11 stars. To be able to make Autumn Moon feel pressured, the other party's combat power was definitely not weak. I'll try one move. If the other party only has 11 stars of combat power and can't kill me in one move, you guys can attack from behind. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Autumn Moon and Bubbles. All right. Autumn Moon and Bubbles nodded and agreed. Come on, let me see how strong a heavenly palace's Son of Heaven is. Lu Ming's eyes were bright, and his fighting spirit was getting stronger. The forbidden power in his body was activated to the extreme, and the battle formula was also activated to the extreme. There were tens of thousands of cells all over his body. They were radiant and dazzling like stars. These were the cells that had been fused with the secret technique runes. The power of the secret technique fused with the forbidden power, and Lu Ming was shrouded in a layer of multicolored light. At the same time, every pore on his body was constantly emitting tiny spear lights. In the end, his entire body was about to transform into a spear light. Showing off in front of an expert, Tian Fa, kill. Yichu Qianyue coldly shouted and took a step forward. His body turned into a phantom as he rushed towards Lu Ming. Then, he pressed down his palm towards Lu Ming. Streaks of pure white lightning shot out from his palm. This was the power of heavenly punishment. However, Yi Chu Qianyue's control over the heavenly punishment power had clearly reached an extremely profound level. The power of heavenly retribution intertwined in his hand, turning into a spear completely made of heavenly retribution power, thrusting towards Lu Ming. So what if it's heavenly punishment? Watch how I break the heavens. Lu Ming let out a long roar and displayed the heaven-breaking style. His entire body turned into a shocking spear light, thrusting towards Yi Chu Qianyue. The two dazzling spear lights met in the air, and the spear tips pierced each other. In an instant, it was as if a star had exploded. Where the spear tips met, there was a burst of dazzling light. Countless fine spear lights shot out in all directions. The faces of the experts from the heavenly palace changed. They retreated one after another, setting up layers of defense in front of them to block these fine spear lights. Bubbles waved her hand, and the space-time power burst out. The space in front of her and Autumn Moon was constantly distorted, isolating these spear lights. Buzz! In the second breath of the two's confrontation, Lu Ming's spear light shook violently. Then, with a bang, it collapsed. The spear light collapsed, revealing Lu Ming's body. He retreated rapidly until he reached the side of Autumn Moon and the others. Dozens of fine wounds appeared on his body, and blood kept flowing out. These wounds were caused by the opponent's spear light. It's really powerful. Lu Ming muttered in a low voice. The opponent's combat strength had definitely reached the 11-star level, and it was not an ordinary 11-star level. It was very powerful. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he was completely crushed. He was injured in one move. He didn't die. Yi Chu Qianyue frowned. He was also very shocked. With his strength, he couldn't kill a person who was one level lower than him. He had only encountered such a situation once. That was when he faced that abnormal person, and now, it was the second time. Yi Chu Qianyue's eyes burst out with astonishing killing intent. With your strength, you still want to break the heavens. You are simply delusional. You are destined to be one of the stepping stones of my heavenly human tribe. Today, I will kill you. Yi Chu Qianyue shouted coldly. His body was shrouded in the power of heaven. On his palm, the power of heaven's punishment madly condensed. Countless streams of the power of heaven's punishment were compressed together, condensing and compressing. Finally, it turned into a dazzling battle sword. Whoosh! The battle sword broke through the air and once again slashed toward Lu Ming. Its speed was fast and its power was even more terrifying. Even the incomparably stable space rippled. The incomparably sharp sword chi went straight to Lu Ming's glabella. Before the sword light arrived, Lu Ming felt that there were very small lightning bolts swimming on the surface of his skin. It stimulated his skin and caused a burst of pain. Let me do it. At this time, Bubbles' voice sounded. Her small hand pressed forward. The power of time and space erupted. The void was like ripples of water. It also looked like pieces of mirrors stacked together and pressed toward Yi Chu Qianyue. These mirror-like spaces seemed to be sealing Yi Chu Qianyue. The power of time and space. What a space-time spirit mouse. How dare you attack me? Then I will kill you together with it. Yi Chu Qianyue shouted. The sword light slashed violently and slashed on the power of time and space. The power of time and space was forcefully split apart like a stream of water. Stop! Bubbles shouted. Her glabella shone and two origin ancient words flew out. The power of time and space soared. The surrounding void was distorted and pressed toward Yi Chu Qianyue. The space-time power was crushing down on Yi Chu Qianyue from all directions. It was trying to crush him to death. As soon as the two origin ancient words appeared, Bubbles' strength was raised to the extreme. She broke through a limit and her strength reached another level. 11 stars of battle strength. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Sure enough, after passing through the 5 immortal mountains and obtaining the 5 elements immortal energy, Bubbles' combat strength had also broken through. From 10 stars to 11 stars, the power of time and space became stronger. Such a powerful power of time and space made Yi Chu Qianyue feel great pressure. Power of heaven's punishment, explode! Yi Chu Qianyue shouted. The battle sword in his hand vibrated violently. The sword hummed and flew out and suddenly exploded. This battle sword was completely condensed by the power of heaven's punishment. At this time, when it exploded, thousands of lightning bolts burst out and rushed in all directions. The sky was filled with white lightning. There were too many and too much power. The power of time and space was violently distorted and then constantly exploded. Then, Bubbles' body retreated violently. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.